Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of DMsGuild Feature Showcase. This campaign we're running is called Scourge of the Nightingale. It's written by Jeff Corbin Stevens in collaboration with JVC Perry. I'm always worried I'm going to forget that or screw it up somehow. But before we get into that, I would like to introduce you to our incredible cast. Let's start top to bottom. I see you shaking your head, so I'm going to start with you, Nikki.
That works so against me. Okay. I am at ChickenlyNerd on Instagram as well as Twitter. You can go check out my shop, nerdychicken.ca. It's got so many amazing things and some really amazing things coming down the pike. I promise you need to go look and keep looking.
A wonderful shop of curiosities. Adventure in an e-commerce platform, if you will.
it is an adventure, that's for sure.
Let's say hello to Ryan, a.k.a. at Dads and Dragons. How's it going, Ryan?
It's going good. It's going really good.
Good.
Excited to be back.
Tell the people what you're about.
Yeah, I have a podcast that I play with my kids, my teenage kids, and we play in Ravnica, and we have a lot of fun. And after each episode, after each session, I kind of break down some things that I liked, things that worked well, and we talk about what it's like to play with teenagers and younger people.
Amazing. Noble effort indeed. Actually, a friend of mine just started diving into Ravnica, so we'll have to swap notes. Let's duck over to our good friend at Just Drawn Radio, who also goes by his human moniker, Dustin.
Once again, thanks for having me on the show, dude. And as always, I'm Just Drawn Radio. I do a radio show called Just Drawn That Way, talk about comics, comic culture, and why heroes are important to people.
Fantastic. Very nice. Very nice. And rounding out the pack, Miss Angela, a.k.a. at Pleasant Doom. Hello, Angela.
Hi, I am at Pleasant Doom on the Twitterverse. I am one of the hosts of a podcast called Dungeons, Dinings, and Dorks. It's available wherever you can find a podcast, pretty much, where we talk about just geekery, fun things, and food, because geeks gotta eat. I'm still using that.
You
made
go
it up.
right
I stole it. I'm running with it.
That's right. No problem. No royalties needed. I think what did we agree on? I get 25 cents every time you use that or something like that. That's 25 cents Canadian, though. So
yeah, I'm sure I've got some Canadian
affordable
coins around here somewhere.
Yeah, you don't have to pay me in actual Canadian coins. I'll take those. I'll take those United States quarters. They're worth 38 cents up here in the frozen north.
Nice.
Of course, nothing frozen about the north this week. It is currently feels like 38 outside. What's that in Fahrenheit? 170 or something?
It's up
38 is hot.
38's friggin' hot.
Yeah, it's like up in the 80s in Fahrenheit, possibly close to 90.
No, 38's over 100.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 35 is like 90 or something, 90 something.
There you go.
38 is 104.
I don't know. I'm not
double
good with
that 30.
I'm not good with scale conversion.
We're reaching like valley temperatures.
100.4. Yeah,
I'm excited. That's a big accomplishment for us. Of course, we go from like deep freeze. We go from like permafrost to like melting into the hot asphalt. That's how we do it. Not for our folks on the East Coast, though, right, Nikki? The East Coast is enjoying what I understand to be nearly perfect weather.
We were, and then all of a sudden it got cloudy and cold today.
Right. So sorry,
Rain.
I should preface that was as of like 2 hours ago. It was perfect as weather goes on the East Coast. 2 hours ago it was perfect.
That is perfect
for
as
5
weather.
minutes.
Yeah, well, just wait a minute.
Yeah, it'll change. What do they say? If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, it'll change.
Yep.
We got a bunch of celebrities in chat today, as well as a wonderful group of offline follows that I'd like to acknowledge today. Let's start from the bottom to the top. James Corp, a friend of ours, fellow member of the Storytellers Unity. Thank you for the offline. Actually, James Corp followed on Saturday. I already gave you props. Get out of here, James Corp. Just kidding. Love you, buddy. We have Batch Gaming, who joined us, Natalie, who joined us on our first music stream this Monday. Steph and I did a music stream. It was a lot of fun. Offline follows from Monkey473. Thank thank you very much for the support. KYRVG FM radio, or aka Kyrvg. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciate your support. Manda, a buddy of ours from the How I Nerd community, represented. Thank you very much for the offline follow, Manda. Pleasure having you on board. Categoric 3, thank you for the follow. And of course, our own Nikki, Nerdy Chicken. I'm so excited I can't even pronounce it properly. Nerdy Chicken with the big host. Thank you very much. And of course, all of you for coming back. It all means the world to me. Thank you very much. Of course, a follow means love. We don't need your money. We just enjoy your participation, and we like having you here. So if you are so inclined, if you're watching, you've never done so already, please do throw us a follow and let us know you're listening. And thank you very much for your support. Join the Checkmates. Have a wonderful time with us. I, of course, am Brad, a.k.a. Shambazzle Games. I'm your DM for the DMsGuild Feature Showcase. This module, as I mentioned, Scourge of the Nightingale. You can ! Module in chat to get that information anytime you like. Otherwise, feel free to interact with us. We'll pause the interaction when we're into the story, obviously, because we want to focus on building an amazing narrative for your viewing entertainment today. But we'll always stop at the end of the show, go back, give props, and address some of those questions and comments that come up through chat, so don't be shy. And, of course, we'll give you your props if you do throw us a follow, which we very much appreciate. So don't hesitate. If you do want to give us a hand in getting the word out, please see this pre-baked little one-click tweet. It's ready for you. All you got to do is click it, send it. You'll be doing us a wealth of good and helping us spread the good word about the adventures that we're going to host here on the channel. And that's my only plug. So otherwise, make sure that you are following me on Twitter at Shambazzle Games for daily Dungeons & Dragons content and discussion. I think I did this right. We'll find out. There you go. Feel free to join us there. And, of course, follow our wonderful cast. Their Twitter handles are the @mentions underneath their player frames. So, with that, we had to postpone 2 weeks ago. So, we're actually 3 weeks out in the game. So, we had to kind of refresh a little bit. This is the beauty of having things recorded, which is wonderful. We can always go back and review it and rewatch it. And I always enjoy that anyway. But let's go, Angela, give me one big highlight from last session or last couple of sessions.
Oh gosh. We were kind of infiltrating a goblin hideout in a massive tree where we were basically on the verge of discovery. I fell off a rope while my rope was cut. I was rescued by a certain rope getting turned magical. We managed to get out of there with our new friend Pio, then moved on to the field, fought some other goblins and hobgoblins, and now we are hiding in the brush while a wagon goes by.
Right, very concise. I also have to remember that I have to play Pio, so thanks for the reminder. Just Drawn Radio as Muse. Give us one highlight from last session.
Last session, well, Muse and Drogon actually managed to create a new secondary weapon for Muse, the Ashen Shotgun.
Right, that's right. That's exciting. I'm excited to see that thing in action. Great segue too, by the way. Just Dads and Dragons as Drogon. Give us one highlight for you from last session.
Last session was amazing. I mean, I blew off all my spells, and then let Pio wipe everybody out after that, and that was great.
That's right. I'm sure she was appreciative.
Yeah.
Very good. And Nikki, give us a highlight for you from last session.
I think Cloud kind of giving a little bit of a hint at her background was probably
that was awesome. Yeah.
a good highlight for me.
Right. Yeah, we're starting to get into it now. The bonds are forming, so the stories are coming into play, and what amazing, wonderful stories they are. So stay tuned, because the narrative is going to continue to grow deeper and deeper. And with that, let's jump into the game. Huh? What? That's how I buy time for my stinger to continue playing through. I'm gonna do a couple of quick little frame adjustments here. Give me a quick sec. Bear with me, gang. There we go. I did this in the last overlay, but they got a little bunk. So bear with me, gang. This is the magic. This is the real production. This is what gives you that high quality Hollywood feel that we're going for on the channel here. You might recognize it. Very what am I thinking? I don't know. Can somebody give me a good, I don't know any very like Avengers director producer people. What's that?
The Russo brothers.
Yeah, Russo brothers. Thank you. Oh my god. Blanked out. Very Russo brothers. Very Scorsese.
I was gonna go with IT crowd.
Very IT crowd. I'll take it. Very your grandmother's TikTok. That's what I'm going for right now.
That's some high level.
Mission accomplished. The bar is high. All right. We'll do a little bit more of a longer recap just to cover all the wonderful things that happened last session. But first, I need my ambiance. There we go. Oh, I almost read out a different description for another part of okay. Almost giving away my secrets right from the get-go.
Uh-oh.
A quick but thorough scouring of the goblin camp, presumably the staging ground for the Bridge Tree Goblin Detachment, revealed little in monetary wealth, but a number of key interests. Aside from a few baubles, Drogon unearthed a missive from the villainess, who continues to tease at the center of whatever plot has resulted in Devon's abduction. Secure the gold, release the prisoner, and return to base. Signed, N. Before long, the discovery of a pair of horse tracks and footprints, too large and heavy to belie goblin traffic, led the companions eastward, deeper into the northern Cormanthor and on the only road forward. As quickly as the road narrowed into an overgrown passage marked with stone and dirt, so too did the heavy weight of day settle over the party as night approached. At the juncture of dusk, they happened upon an interesting fellow, a washed-up image of a thought of an adventurer named Bartimer Bandiful, who caught their attention, convincing them to at least hear his plight. After a well-earned evening's rest, and beyond his obvious buffoonery, Bandiful did offer something of value, a clear overlook of a sprawling goblin fort in the center of a vast valley beyond the road's edge. Intently they watched as the very quarry they seek, Devon artists, hostage to two hobgoblins, entered the forest to make the acquaintance of a lean, well-adorned female bandit. Clearly the superior of the contingent, the blonde-haired masked maiden exerted her displeasure with them for reasons unknown to the party, leaving one of the two lifeless in the sand of the fort. The other with a very clear message to carry forward as she mounted and left the premises promptly, and the hostage again in the care of the goblin tribe below. Left pining for a strategy on how to enter a fort, quickly, literally, crawling with goblins to secure their objective, the crew were drawn to a commotion on the thinning, scarcely traveled road as a lone caravan began to amble down over the rocks and untested terrain. With Bandiful bound and gagged to prevent the oaf from causing complications, they carefully consider this new arrival with uncertainty. All they know for now is that this coach and whatever its cargo is destined eastward on the road that seems to have but one destination, the Fort Valley and the home of Devon's kidnappers. And with that, we will launch back into session on a lonely, quiet, dusk-baked road in the North Cormanthor, as this wagon and its covered canopied carriage rocks down the rough-hewn pathway and caws through the Northern Cormanthor, the wind just slightly rippling in the tarpaulin that covers the bulk of the trailer, and the large clapboard sign that seems to be banging against the side. Again, the rider clapping the reins against the hides of the beasts of burden that pull his quarry forward. Large wisps of wild white beard flowing in the wind, surrounding a sun-baked face. I'll just give you a quick reread of that as we close off last sessions. Your senses are peaked now as you hear the sound of the wooden wheels and braying of horses emanated from the road just beyond the cover of the thick forest. A small flock of starlings erupts somewhere to the west in the tree line, disturbed by the movement that still now is only about 75 feet away from you, and the distance closes on the road as you begin to see a respectably large covered caravan pulled by two horses as it continues to bump and rock over the uneven stony ground. One thing that does, as it kind of rocks into focus, begins to continue its traverse down towards the ravine below. Drogan, give me a perception check, please.
All right.
Oh yeah, Drogan and Glitterbomb me and Drogan are hiding and watching it.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
I
right.
think you've all made your way to the roadside now, right?
I believe so.
Gotcha.
Woohoo.
And as Drogan, as the early daylight just begins to bounce off this painted carved sign, this clapboard sign that's kind of banging against the side of the wagon as it rocks to and fro, you make out the signs. Friggins fantastic showcase. Friggins fantastical showcase as it continues to rock forward, now about 60 feet out.
Glitterbomb, why don't you stay here for a minute? Keep an eye on, well, cover me in case anything crazy happens. I step out into the road in front of the wagon.
Okay, as you step out into the road, the driver pulls hard on the reins as the horses rear back, stomp, irritated at the coarse, rough ground as a small cloud of dust carries forward with a sudden stop. Hold! Hey! That's a good way to get yourself killed. What are you doing out here on the road by yourself, man? Step aside. And he begins to slowly pull the horses to try and get around you.
Where do you be headed?
Whoa. He slows the horses again. He considers you for a minute. Down the road. Otherwise, don't see what business it is of yours.
I've just come from down the road. There's not much down there that requires a fantastical showcase.
There is if you've got a contract. Now, come on. You're holding me up.
What kind of contract?
Well, you read the sign. You seem to know what we're here for. Show business, my friend. Not something that someone who seems pretty armed to the teeth might be interested in. If I didn't know better, I might say you was a brigand on the road. But I'll warn you, while I'm an entrepreneur now, my days of war were not so far behind that I can't defend myself. And he just kind of nods to something underneath a cloak at his lap as you see the gleaming head of a arrow tip pointed at you.
I believe that. I believe it.
Well, then why are you still holding me up?
Tell me about this contract you've got down there.
Why would I share that with you?
It seems odd. Going
Textiles. Nothing more.
Textiles.
Yep. Don't carry no money. Don't carry no wealth. Just cloth bolts. Unrefined. Unvaluable. Not worth knocking over a caravan for, if you get my meaning.
Neighbor, I'm not looking to knock over any caravan.
Well, you'll forgive me my skepticism. I'm not used to running into anyone on these roads, let alone so early in the day. Salune's barely finished her journey.
Who was that?
Salune. You got the look of a holy sort. Not a follower of the moon goddess, I take.
Afraid not. No.
Well,
I do follow a god, but he goes by the name of Doug Marin.
aye. His dwarven eyes kind of raise. All right. I can appreciate a follower of Doug Marin. I suppose that puts us on somewhat equal grounds. Perhaps I won't shoot you today.
Well, I stepped out. I hadn't seen a dwarf in so long up here that I seemed like I couldn't just let you pass by without saying hello.
That checks out. Like I said, not many travelers of any kind on these roads.
Listen, friend, I really do need to know why you're headed down to this encampment.
Roll a persuasion check for me, please.
All right. $11.
Knowledge is power, and power has a cost. Why would you be so concerned to know? Perhaps if we can find some mutuality in it, I'd be more willing to share my business with you.
You seem like a friendly chap, and it has to do with a friend of mine, actually.
I see. Well, as he continues, he's interrupted by voices in the back of the caravan. A female voice says, "Friggin', what are we stopping for? It's hot out here." Shut quiet. Claps a hand against the back of the caravan and slowly turns his eyes to you. I'm sorry. I was distracted.
It sounds like a lovely distraction back there.
I do okay. Like I said, I'm an entrepreneur. I have in my business several in my employ. Gainfully, I might add. He just seems kind of irritated that something has been made. And you hear some kind of commotion at the back of the carriage. God's damned. He throws the reins aside and he awkwardly gets down off the driver's seat, stepping down on the ground. He comes a full 3 inches shorter. He kind of pushes you just to make sure that he doesn't crash into you. Sorry, friend. Just give me a moment, would you? And he kind of ambles back towards the back of the caravan. Disappears as the rest of you kind of observe this as well. And as he's reaching the back of the caravan, an old, wizened man in dark blue robes with a large crooked brown hat steps out. Why, all the nonsense and noise has awoken me from my slumber, which I need to perform, friggin'. What is this all about? And he looks over his shoulder and sees you. What is he? Are you? What are you doing? Who is this? Don't worry about it. I'm taking care of it, Gravitas. Just go ahead and step back in the carriage, won't you? We'll be on our way again shortly. Well, I need to stretch my legs. I'm an old man, you see. And he just kind of begins to blunder on, and he's just do what you need to do, and please get back in the van. Wagon. It's not a van. It's a wagon. Caravan. Not to be confused with minivan. I've heard of them from Eberron, but I've never seen one myself. Anyway, he kind of turns back and comes back to you, Drog, and he says, look, as you can see, my staff are getting restless, so I really do need to keep moving. We have business in the valley, you see. We were contracted to entertain a contingent of militants. Just business. But their coin is good. So we intend to see it through.
You know about who these militants are, don't you?
What do you know of it?
I just think it might be a rougher crowd than you're expecting.
Roll a persuasion check. He just leans in, he says, I understand that they might be somewhat unconventional, but they have both the gold and the need to relieve themselves of it. So, times are tough. Who am I to deny my staff their earned pay?
Oh, I see. Well, of course, they know that they're going to be forming for a bunch of goblins.
They have been briefed. Harmless. I think they're just passing through.
I see. Well, listen, friend. Friggin. May I call you Friggin?
Aye.
It comes down to this. I could provide you with a much better audience. a wedding even. But I need your help.
He kind of looks off forlornly for a moment. What are the rest of you doing at this moment? You don't have to wait, by the way. You can jump in whenever you want.
I think I'm trying to while the wagon driver is distracted, I'm probably trying to sneak my way closer to the wagon.
Okay. Why don't you make a stealth roll for me? Cloud.
I can't help myself now. I'm going right there with her.
Okay. Cloud
I
follows
was trying to
close
be
behind
good.
Glitterbomb. Curiosity truly getting the better of the feline. I believe that's the old adage. And Muse.
Being the one that could be mistaken for a brigand, and rightly so, I'm just standing off to the side, keeping an eye on everything.
Okay. As you kind of sink into your old instincts, you're almost leveraging your ability to case a caravan on the road. It's eerily familiar to you, which almost is discomforting in its own right. So Cloud and Glitterbomb stealthily moving through the brambles and the brush line that just obscures the forest's edge from the viewpoint of where the caravan sits on the road, and you slowly make your way deftly around. Anyone who's engaged in this conversation, the old wizened man at the back of the caravan, and as you kind of peer around, Glitterbomb and Cloud, you can see now at least 6 or 7 individuals actually compiled lining benches that are in the back of this caravan, and it's just cluttered with a bunch of stuff. Otherwise, it looks like boxes, some hangers, some racks of textiles. Presumably that part was somewhat true as you managed to kind of make your way around to the back. And at the helm, or the head of the wagon, friggin' breathes deep, looks off into the forest line, and draws his attention back to you, Drogon. He says, well, it's nice to have gigs lined up. We do need to see this one through, so what kind of help would you require, and how can we help one another?
Oh, it's nothing, really. I promise.
I'll be the judge of that, my friend.
You see, here's the thing. This camp you're headed to, they have a friend of mine that they're holding there, quite against his will. And it's a matter of life and death that we get him back to his wedding, which is supposed to have been today. I am sure that if you could help us to get into the camp at least, that I could provide you with another show tomorrow night at his wedding.
What do you mean? What does he mean? Held against what is kidnapped? What is, and as holding his robes up around his thin, bony ankles, the old man is shuffling towards you. We'll never get out of this one now. Gravitas, please. I told you let me handle it. And the old man turns to you, Drogon, and he kind of looks at you sideways and gets way too close for comfort. Says, "Who is kidnapped? Is this dangerous? I am too old for danger. I am a performer, a thespian. My adventuring days are behind me, though I do still command the arcane." And he does some just basic tricks, and he kind of trails off in his own thoughts. And then he stops himself. No, wait, kidnapped? Who is kidnapped? What? Kidnapped? Friggin', what have you gotten us into? And you see this bronze-skinned, curly, black-haired, almost gypsy-looking like a lady with bangles and blouses flowing in the wind. She steps out, very elegant in stature, and she almost floats and glides over to you, Drogon. She says, "Was your friend kidnapped? By whom?"
I'm a...
Friggin's just like face-palming right now.
Drogon, never the deceptive one, always the blunt one, leans in and says, well, there's a woman who goes by Nightingale.
Nightingale? Oh, it's a stage name. The old man taps the black-haired lady on her shoulder. A stage name. Is she a performer? A thespian? Thespian?
I could. I couldn't say. I'd never heard of her before myself, but I'm not much to follow the arts, really.
And this is your friend, the Nightingale has been kidnapped. Friggin', this is a wonderful storyline. Perhaps we can add it to the rescue of the fair goblin maiden. And he begins to go into reciting lines, and Friggin's like, save it for the stage, Gravitas. And with that, the caravan kind of rocks and heaves as though relieved of some belabored weight. And from the back, another large kind of oafish figure steps down, and he kind of walks towards you with a large greatsword slung over his shoulder. He says, Kidnap, we can take care of that. We're strong. We'll save your friend. And he points at you, Drogon, and he kind of swings the greatsword around with like impossible ease. You can see it almost like wobbling in the wind. It's clearly a prop sword. And he slams it into the ground. It kind of like wobbles and bends like quickly for a minute. And he just writes himself and says, Tanbar the Mighty at your service. Adventurer extraordinaire. We'll save your girlfriend.
Tenbar, yes. I think we're getting a little confused here on what's happening, and
Friggin says that's an understatement.
As to what exactly? And I poke the sword.
It's very sharp. Careful.
Right. Yes. Listen, friggin', I'm not one to ask something like this lightly, but if there was any way that you could perhaps escort us into the camp.
If it will get these buffoons back in my wagon and on towards our show, I suppose I could oblige. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check for me.
Oh, man.
What's one more? Please now, as he bows deeply in a very satirical gesticulation towards his actors, may we proceed, my talent? And they kind of step aside there. Tamber says, all right, we're going to save your girlfriend. We're going to save her.
It's a he. It's not my, it's a friend of mine.
He stops.
His name is Devin.
His name is Devin. He stops and turns around. He says, oh, Devin. Oh, your friend, Devin. Cool. And the other two stop and they pause and they look at each other and they turn around. And the elegant lady says, Devin who, love?
Man, I don't remember Devin's last name.
It's a fairly unique name. They kind of look at one another and Friggin says, wait. You mentioned a marriage.
Yes, Devin's engaged to Gildis back at Damshire.
His face kind of sullens and he friggin' puts a hand on the side of his wagon to right himself, and you hear a gasp from the elegant-looking black-haired lady. Tamra just says, okay, Devin it is. And the wizened old elderly gentleman strokes a long beard. He says, Devin Artis, the performer.
Yes.
This is who they've kidnapped. Oh, friggin', we did not sign for this. These are the goblins that are currently hostling Devin Artist? Artist? I can't even pronounce it. I'm so flustered. Friggin', we're not about to put ourselves in harm's way for this. What were you thinking? Did you not vet the contract? They begin to argue a little bit, and Friggin says, look, just get back in the caravan, and we'll continue on. We'll collect. It'll be easy. We're not concerned with Devin's business. The artistry, the Performers Guild will handle him. I'm sure his friend is here, and he gestures to Drogon, and we're going to help him. And he nods to you, Drogon. He's right. We're going to help you get Devin. You're going to get. We won't be in harm's way. And he continues to jockey, but the performers now seem quite at odds as now two more individuals step out of the back of the caravan. One of them very slight, young-looking elven female with long flowing green robes, and she just kind of seems to shyly be looking around the corner. They seem quite concerned and distraught with this revelation that Devin Artis is the individual that you've mentioned, and now they're starting to banter back and forth. One of them says, I'm not going through with this. Friggin',
this
you
point,
can't pay me enough. Yep.
Cloud, I step out and say, Drogon, you wouldn't go without us, right?
Oh, bandits!
I'm busy climbing into the driver's seat.
Bandits! She starts screaming. Tambar jumps out with his greatsword. He's like, bandits where? He's like, oh, these are right? Real bandits. These are real bandits. He drops the sword and it like kind of clatters with a plastically wobble on the ground. He's like, he points at Friggin. He's like, he's got the money. He's got the money. As chaos begins to kind of erupt around the caravan, it's rocking back and forth as the black-haired lady throws herself against the back. Bandits! We're under attack! The high drama begins to erupt as this is part theatrics and part genuine fear. But it seems to be quickly getting out of hand as Friggin is desperately running from side to side of the wagon. Settle down. It's fine. They're not bandits. And he looks at you, Drogon. He's like, please tell me they're yours.
What in Dog Baron's name is going on here?
You tell me. If you can invoke the gods, invoke them to tell your friends to back away. What is this? And he looks, and now suddenly he's aware of Glitterbomb in his, at the helm of the caravan. He's like, get down. Shoo. And he begins to like, kind of swat at you. Glitterbomb. I wouldn't
swat. No, I would stay away from her.
Look, okay, you can roll a persuasion, intimidation, or deception with advantage. Your choice. I don't think I've ever given 3 options for a roll before.
I will.
I'm still staring at Drogon saying, you wouldn't, right? You wouldn't go. You wouldn't go without us.
Listen, I'm not going anywhere. I will. I don't think it matters. Let's get everybody back under control. I'm going to cast
Fireball.
I'm going to cast Word of Radiance.
Okay.
Targeting no one at this point, but it does give me a little bit of extra light. A burning radiance erupts from me.
Okay.
And
as this blistering, shimmering halo begins to emanate from Drogon, and
we'll try and
reach out through and beyond the trees, and just like you don't even notice as Drogon is desperately trying to draw attention as chaos erupts. They're chasing each other around the caravan. Friggins like, "What's come back here? Settle down. You're under contract. You can't leave." And Tambar's just like, "No money. No money. I don't have any money." He's got the money, insists, and he's like, keeps pointing at you, Cloud. He's like, "Go, bandit that guy."
You don't have any money?
Nope.
I reach into my pouch and I hold out 2 gold for him. I have some. Do you want it?
Yes.
He just kind of throws the 2 gold towards him at his feet. I do that.
He bends over and he like completely like disregards you as he picks up the 2 gold coins and brushes off the dirt, and he's kind of watching you as he slowly tucks them into the folds of his tunic. Really? For nothing?
Well, you said you don't have any.
Yeah, I still don't have any. Weird.
Well, that's... I'm not... I don't think I'm going to give you any more because I think I'm supposed to have some too.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to watch the road. And he just slowly starts to back away and walk back up the road, the direction from whence the caravan came. He's checking over his shoulder every now and then. He's left his prop greatsword on the ground. 20 feet, 30 feet, and then breaks into a run until he's out of sight. As the chaos continues to ensue around the caravan, finally Friggan's desperately trying to corral people. He's managed to get some sense of calm, and he looks at Glitterbomb, and he looks back at you, Drogon. He's like, "Is that one with you?"
Yes, they're with me.
All
Listen,
right.
calm your people down.
I'm trying. Just actors. He just rushes around and he finally gathers Gravitas, the black-haired lady who he calls Malia, and the young, slight elven female. He's like, Jesper, come here. Look, I know that you. And he's gathered them. They're finally listening to them as the scene begins to quell, at least amongst these four remaining of this performance troupe. What are the rest of you doing as he's beginning to talk them down?
Drogon, what are actors? What does that mean?
They perform, they sing, and they say stories. They tell stories. Like when, well, like the stories that we told to the goblins. The ones that Muse told. But there's our
True stories.
Comical sometimes.
Oh. Okay. I'll figure it out.
I whistle to Muse. Muse, do you have Bartimer with you? Where did we leave him tied up at?
I got our friend bound up behind me.
I think we can handle you, but I don't know how many more people we can bring into this before chaos happens again. These are the friends of mine who are trying to help Devon. Let me introduce you. This is Cloud, and I gesture over at Cloud. Glitterbomb is our friend up there on the wagon. She's going to be quite interested in how that works, I'm sure. And
I'm not even paying attention at this point. I'm just looking at the reins.
He nods. Perhaps the company would be welcome. Hey, come on,
Uh,
look, they're being polite. Be polite. And the three of them kind of sheepishly step away from the caravan and just nod at you, looking from you to the ground. Please continue.
And Muse, and I gesture into the woods.
If
I
I
finally
weren't
step out of hiding.
If I weren't convinced that you aren't bandits, I might be fearful now. Muse, a pleasure. Friggan's fantastical showcase. This is Gravitas, the mage arcana. This is Melia, our friend from Kalimshan. Also dabbles on the side as a psychic, conveniently enough. And she just kind of gestures and bows. She says, Jesper, of course, is the voice of the troupe, sings like a songbird, beautiful. And Tanbar, who is our token... Tanbar!
Is that
Tanbar,
the
please.
one that ran away?
Hmm?
Is that the one that ran away?
He stomps off towards the end of the caravan and looks down the road, looks at the greatsword on the floor, picks it up hurriedly and throws it into the caravan where it like bounces around. Boop, 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 boop. Turns around to you. He's like, one less mouth to feed, I suppose.
Listen, you
No
said something about you said something about a play about
Yes.
a goblin princess.
Right. Yes.
I'm having an idea. I think I look at Muse. I say we happen to know a goblin, not a princess, but I'm sure that
Oh.
she might be able to help participate and give some reality to your play.
Pio
I
kind
don't know
of
what that would
quietly
be.
peeks through the brushes, having opted to stay well out of sight in all this commotion, as she just slowly steps out, her rusted, bent mail kind of clinking against itself as she steps forward, kind of puts her hands on her hips. I've never been in a play or acted, but I could try.
And perhaps while I'm just saying that this play might be the distraction that we need to get Devon out. We certainly can't deal with a whole camp full of goblins on our own.
He looks back and forth, looks up and down the caravan, and says, "Did Tanbar leave alone?" And Melia comes out from around the caravan and she says, "Fortunately not. The rest are gone too." "Well, there will be no play, I'm afraid, without the actors I need. And now I'm down 4. 5 counting Tanbar. So, I'm afraid we don't have enough. While I say the show must go on, there will be no show. So I don't see how we can help you now, my friend. But I wish you the best. And he kind of begins to...
Well, what do you need to know to be an actor?
Can you pretend? You ever pretend to be something you're not?
Yes.
I'm going to actually turn around like pretend.
That's about it. And Melia steps up. Well, there's a little bit more to it than that, of course. It's the craft. It's the art. Shut. Silence, Melia. Thank you. That's really all that's involved. Play pretend. And maybe a little dash of pretension. But what of the rest of you then? It's crazy, and I couldn't expect you to do it. I'll have to tell Jumper that we'll have to forfeit the contract.
No, wait. I can't believe that I'm saying this, but this may be the only chance we have. If there's a way that we can help with this performance, then I'm sure, I'm not good with words, you see. I don't know what I could do, but my friends here seem to be quite well spoken. We have to try.
This puts me in a bit of a predicament. Hey.
He steps up. Hey, if you need a good plain dealing villain, I'd be more than happy to step up for the role.
Well, after careful consideration, I've decided, here are your contracts, and he begins to pass out contracts to each one of you, small rolled parchments as if though he's had them the whole time. He's like, 10 gold is the total for your pay. Here you go. I'll need those signed before we continue forward. Liability and all guild dues, and I'll take care of that. And Melia kind of begins to protest. But do you want to do a show, or do you want to go home? You want to go back to the desert? You want to go back to Kalimshan? No, fine. I'll just be in my trailer. And she storms off and gets back into the caravan. The rest of them just slowly turn around and jump into the back of the wagon. Well then, my new talent and your friend here, he gestures towards Pio. She's kind of nods. All aboard. Next up, Goblin City, or whatever forsaken name they've given the damn place. And he begins to climb up onto the helm, kind of pushes over at Glitterbomb and gestures for you to get down.
I will whistle sadly and get back in the back of the wagon.
All right. He looks at you, Drogon, and he kind of sighs. He says, unless you'd like to ride up front with me, my friend. To you, Glitterbomb.
I think I prefer that. Oh, he says that to Glitterbomb.
He kind of looks at you as you've mentioned that Glitterbomb would be interested in seeing more about this, and he turns over his shoulder to Glitterbomb. Unless you'd like to ride up front.
She gets a really happy whistle and just scrambles to get back up into the seat.
All right. Take your time, make yourselves comfortable, he nods to you, Drogon, and he points at you. He's like, do not make me regret this choice, my friend, or Doug Marin will have his anger on both of us.
That he will. Muse, as an aside, before we jump in, Muse, what have you done with that kook barter?
I just thumb behind me, left him tied up beside the tree. Think we can use him as an actor?
I would kind of rather not.
Say we just leave him be.
Should we untie him?
I'll go cut him loose.
Well, how long do you think we'll be gone? Perhaps he might be better tied up. If he's going to be causing problems for us.
Tied up, not fun.
I look towards Glitterbob and go, "Well, it was still better than you becoming a nice, colorful splotch on the ground."
Friggins
See if
continuing
you
to just
can-
check the barding on the horses, making leave-taking preparations. But you have a few minutes, whatever you'd like to do before
See if you can get him to stay out of our way. At least not cause us any problems. I don't want something popping up when we're in the middle of trying to get out of there.
I get the feeling we're gonna be testing my new invention before this day's out, aren't we?
Keep it handy.
I'll head over and check it, or I'll head over and kind of kneel in front of Barkley.
All right, he's slumped forward and not moving.
I just tap him with the back of my hand twice, just kind of a.
He kind of wrestles his way out of the gag and looks at you. He says, "It's just right. Do we win? Do we win? Do we win? We win? You're here. I'm
Friend,
here. We're live. We won. That's good. Good job, Ben. Good job." And he goes to stand up in the tree, pulls him back. Oy. Oh. What's this? What's all this for?
Well, friend, I got a job for you.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I accept. I take it.
I'm gonna need a lookout.
Yep. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna need you to keep an eye above the fort.
Yes. Do that very well. I've been doing it for the last 10 days. Did I show you? Did I show you
Yes.
what? Okay.
Yeah, friend, you've done a fantastic job.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, boss. Thank you.
Gonna need you to do it a little bit longer. I want you to warn us if it looks like we get found. I need you to signal to us the best way of getting out.
Right. Okay. And what does he just say the signal is? I know. I'll yell signal. But louder than that. Way
About
louder.
a right good.
You gotta hear it.
About a right good plan. Friend.
How far are you gonna be? Where are you going?
We're gonna be sneaking into the fort, and we're gonna try and get our friend out of trouble here.
Wait, that's my dynasty. That's my legacy. That's what I was put on this plane to do.
Well, friend, you're gonna be doing it. You're gonna be working alongside us, just at the distance.
Roll a persuasion check with advantage for me. Yes, I'll oversee. I'll oversee the operations from up here. Overwatch. I will be co-boss.
Right, respected friend.
Good. Yep. Good. Excellent. So I can get out of these ropes and such. Yeah.
I make a quick gesture, and the rope releases him.
That is much better than not free. And he kind of pushes himself wobbly to his hands. He's, hold up. Whoa. These trees, they creep up on you. And he goes back to his low prowl and begins to go prone, crawling towards the outlook. And he just leans back and gives you a kind of pie-eyed thumbs up as he continues to push his way towards the overlook. What's that?
I just said, what could go wrong?
I return to Drogon. I got a friend on lookout in case anything goes sideways. At the very least, there'll be a fool yelling to get the attention off of us.
That'll be better. That'll be much better. He seems a fine lad, but I really don't feel safe with him around.
Worked with better, I've worked with worse. Seems like a good sort, but I'm pretty sure in this particular situation, he definitely falls into the all broth, no beans category.
Aye. Listen, see if you can explain this acting business to Cloud better. I don't know how much I can do.
And with that,
I'm
Friggin
better at,
claps
you know,
the side of the trailer and
props.
says, "All right, best make our way before we miss our opportunity." And he kind of gestures towards the caravan. "Plenty of time to talk on the road. We've got about an hour's ride ahead of us to the valley." He kind of walks towards the back.
What's the wagon like, Brad? Is it flat on top?
As you kind of look into the wagon, getting ready to kind of pile in there, you see it's like a wood trailer that's about 15 feet by 8 feet wide, and it contains a trove of wigs. There are costumes piled up. You of course now see Gravitas, Melia, and Jespa sitting on the benches to the far end. They just kind of nod politely as you poke your head in. There's two small writing desks that are crammed in the back with small mirrors, almost like a makeshift dressing room, and some other kind of tiered crates that have a various assortment of powders and colored pulp. Seem to be, as best you can tell, used for the craft, as Jespa seems to be counting through some of them, going through a list. Friggin says, "Don't be shy, go on." And beyond that, it's covered by a large beige canopy. It's like a covered wagon that provides shelter from the heat as well as some reasonable comfort. The benches are raw wood. There's no real finery spared in that regard, but they've piled up some old bolts of cloth and unused costumes to make it somewhat more comfortable. Towards the back, there are a couple of racks with swinging hangers that hold a couple of costumes as well, and then a small barrel of props, swords, staves, things like that.
I will get in, but I want to be as far away from anybody I don't know as I can get. And if I have to be like squished up against the canvas, that's exactly what I do.
Okay, no problem. You push yourself towards the back, creating a lot of space between these new individuals with whom you're less familiar. And Friggin just kind of lingers on you for a moment, Drogon, and points his finger. "Dugmarin's wrath. You know it well."
I understand.
And he points.
I hop in as well.
Right.
Actually, I'll snag those two. If those 2 gold coins are still on the ground that Cloud dropped, I'll snag those.
Oh no,
But instead of putting them in my
those. Tambor
Oh, did you
took
take
those
those?
and
All right.
bounced.
All right. Then I hop in the back.
He's as Friggin points, he's like, "I'll need those signed before we conduct our business, of course." That goes for everyone, as he ushers the rest of you onto the wagon. And he says, "Oh, and of course, here are your scripts. I know it's not good to put performers under this kind of pressure, but you'll need to have them somewhat memorized by the time we get to the camp." And he begins to distribute these stacks of parchment paper. And now in your journals, you'll see the script as well as the contract, which you'll need to sign, and the closing number called "A Song of Love," that he says is kind of the big hurrah at the end, the showstopper, if you will. Take your time, but not too much time. And he kind of closes the latch on the back of the trailer, checks it twice. "Heave off, then." And he walks out of sight towards the front of the caravan. Before long, with the crack and the snap of leather reins, the whinny and braying of horses, the caravan slowly begins to groan and creak against the stones as it begins to rock and ease into a cadence, now back to its jolting coast down the road, which winds and carves around a downgrade towards the valley. What you like to do is you now gather in the caravan, which is, like I said, it's not a smooth ride by any stretch, but there's some simple comforts there.
Sorry, I'm reading through the script right now.
Take your time and browse through the script. Meanwhile, at the front, cracking on the whips, the the early dusk begins to grow into mid-morning. A beautiful, uninhibited sun begins to crash through the emerald leaves that form the top foliage of the northern Cormanthor. And this easy kind of gate of dirt road that's barely thick or wide enough to accommodate the caravan begins to open up, coming wide and closed at various increments. The caw of a hawk begins to emanate from somewhere beyond the overreach of the Cormanthor. 20 minutes go by. Some casual commentary kind of erupts between the performers who remain. Gravitas talking about how accomplished he is in the arcane arts, but he really doesn't seem to be capable of fashioning much more than a couple of dazzling lights and some spark effects from his hands. But presumably quite the accomplished magister in his day. Melia attempts to coerce some of you into allowing a palm reading, a whimsical traverse through the stars of your future and destinies untold, and it's all very grandiose and thin at the same time. As the caravan continues to rock and leave more mileage of dirt road behind, the early morning starts to approach noon, and you can feel the gait of the caravan begin to bank around a long, lazy curve that angles more southward. You feel the brisk wind begin to build around the caravan as the rippling tapestry of the caravan coverage begins to ripple and bellow in the wind. It's almost soothing and lulling at a time as you continue to focus on the text of your scripts, desperately trying to consume as much of the text as you can. Another 30 minutes go by. Yep.
I've probably asked someone to read it to me so I can just mimic how they say it.
Strangely, Friggin makes a fairly good scene partner, and it works out in your favor that you've chosen to accompany him at the helm on this journey towards the valley, and you trade lines back and forth. He seems to get, through a lot of it, is he's understanding your capacity to mimic things. Strangely, he seems just oddly intrigued by it, and he begins to try and test other words with you, some Dwarven words. You actually end up picking up a couple of basic words in Dwarven. As most of us do when we are learning a new language, you learn the swear words first. So he starts there, and he suggests you don't use it in casual conversation, but he seems to get a laugh out of your attempt to recreate the language. Another 20 minutes go by, and suddenly a jolt to the caravan as it exits the dirt road and seems to now be rolling along something softer. Out the back of the caravan in the port where the canopy meets the wooden trailer, you now see green meadows beginning to scroll out as the caravan continues on through the valley, and before long begins to make its approach way beyond the overlook, through the valley, past the narrowing road, and onwards towards the Goblin Fort. Hopefully that gave you some time to read the scripts.
We're going along. I look to Cloud. You need any help with taking on a role?
So on that, sorry, you're asking who?
Cloud.
Oh, Cloud, gotcha.
I don't know. I'm not a goblin.
Well, you did a mighty fine job of pretending to be a bandit for a little while, so just think about it that way.
Okay. What, how do we do this? Who is who?
If I may, since we're on the topic of doling out parts, some of us, of course, more established thespians, he gestures towards the other two. I, of course, play the part of Booga, the wizarding goblin, if you will. Let's see, Tanbar was Brika. He starts to go over the other. I suppose we will have to hand out the parts.
Jesper says, well, I was supposed to play the part of Ambrosia, I would like to keep it if you're okay with that.
Is she talking to us?
Just in general, yeah.
Of course, you can play whatever you want.
And then, of course, I'm a soprano, so I'll be singing in the finale as well. I think we all will. Melia just kind of nods and she says, yeah, I'm not really fussy. I'm just happy to be there. So I'm hoping to make a little coin after the show, really. Reading palms and forging destinies and whatnot.
Reading palms?
Yes, yes. I navigate the stars. I unfurl the intricate twines of one's destiny. Would you like a reading? I'd love to give you a reading. It would be wonderful. You might learn something about yourself.
I groan.
Now. Ever the skeptic, I see. And she reaches for your hand, Cloud.
She, pretty much almost, climbs up.
She reels back. She says, all right. No, it's not necessary. Let's stick to the matter at hand, shall we? I'll take whatever's left. And she just kind of slinks over towards the corner.
I stay hanging off the canvas for a while.
Jesper just kind of looks back and forth. Well, I guess we're settled then. And Grafta says, yes, don't forget Booga, the Magister. I shall be remembered for this one. Defining role, really. And he kind of mumbles as he moves back towards the front of the wagon, leaving the rest of you to disseminate the rest of the parts.
He used his mechanical ferret and just sits it on his shoulder and throws a little bit of magic at it.
It begins to clockwork and whine as it comes to magical life.
If the other spell throwers want to start showing their stuff, I figure might as well.
At the front of the helm, Friggin is actually helping Glitterbomb select a part as well. So, who do you think Glitterbomb would choose? In this
Probably Pim Pam.
Pim Pam. Friggin yells back, "We've got our Pim Pam, just so you know." Everything else is up for grabs, of course, but I've got her pegged. Caster's eye, you see. As he continues the cant of the... as he casts Glitterbomb in the role of Pim Pam.
I look to Drogon. How you feel about how you feel about holding up a fake sword?
I don't know if I could. Listen, just give me something I don't have to talk a lot in.
Pio kind of gingerly raises her hand. She says, Can I be Snots? I had a cousin named Snots, and just kind of speaks to me, I guess. I don't know.
I think that's wonderful.
All right, sweet. I'm in. And she hurriedly begins to pour over her script, and she takes out a little piece of coal and starts highlighting her lines. This leaves Grug, Bricka, and the narrator to be cast. As you continue to draw closer to the Goblin Fort, now you can hear the sounds of yelling and commands being issued, multiple goblin voices on the wind, and the heavy stench of goblin life, which is unmistakable, signaling that you are drawing ever closer.
You're the tallest tier muse. Why don't you take this orc commander, Grug?
I nod. Of course. I can play a villain pretty good.
All right.
And then I notice how many lines Bricka has. I say, wait, perhaps. Whoa.
I can
Fine.
speak goblin.
That would leave the narrator. The only two that are left are Brika and the narrator.
Yeah, it says that you have to speak Goblin to be the narrator.
Please narrate away.
Oh, okay.
Do you speak Goblin?
Yeah,
Oh,
I do's.
that would make Cloud our narrator and Drogon our Brika,
All right.
Which is
saddling
terrifying.
himself with a ton of lines inadvertently. And with that, you feel the wagon begin to slow.
Oh, Brad, what are you doing to us?
Dust from the winding trail that carried you far into the center of this otherwise quiet valley begins to billow around you as the large, heavy, covered wagon grinds to a halt. A mere few feet from the great hulking log gates of the goblin fort, now the stench heavy. You feel the rumble of giant footfalls as the ogre porter begins to approach the great gates, and the chittering of unintelligible goblins shouting from the watchtowers above that pierce the air. As the braying of the draft horses begins to quiet as they come to a complete halt, you can hear Friggin lamenting back to the Overwatch goblins. Glitterbomb, you can see this as well, as Friggin's now yelling back and forth. We were expected by Jumper. Check with Jumper. He knows where we're. And he's kind of seems to be bantering back and forth. The goblins giving him a little bit of a hard time. But you can pick out from the incessant shouting and the bits of conversation that he's pleading for entry. However, the goblins seem to be somewhat hesitant for some reason. You wait for a moment as they continue back and forth, and you can pick out more of the banter that Friggin's announcing that he and the troop were hired by Jumper to perform for his brave contingent of mercenaries, but they seem to need more proof. A moment of silence passes as the frustrated dwarven host rips back the curtain of the covered canopy, his face red. He's clearly annoyed. They want us to prove our position, as if wandering through this stench-filled grotto isn't enough. They won't let us in otherwise.
What type of proof be they looking for?
He looks back and forth. He says they had asked for, this is ridiculous, a psychic performance. And Melia kind of sits up and she raises her hand. She says, they need something convincing, Melia. I love you to pieces, but I don't think a palm reading is reasonable. And they've also asked for a short story of heroism to prove our merit. Throws his hands up. Otherwise, we're dead in the water. And so, as he looks at you, Drogon, is our plan. I'm open to suggestions.
Muse tells good stories.
Be thinking I can help out here.
All right. What about some psychic display?
What type of psychic we looking for? The making stuff move or the reading thoughts?
I don't think they are that fickle. I think they are easily entertained. They are just proving their position. Huh?
I can make something happen then.
He looks around the corner as Glitterbomb squawks.
Glitterbomb.
You think you can
I
help out, friend?
Why don't you show them something exciting?
I help. And I will cast Mage Hand, the cantrip Mage Hand, and start basically using it, kind of scoop up some costumes and make the costumes dance.
Friggin's eyes go wide. And that should do it. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, that could work. All right, for them. And he kind of gestures. He says, he looks at you, Muse. He says, I'll buy you a few minutes at most.
the epicest of stories. And he ushers Glitterbomb up to the front. Announcing one of my best entertainers, Featherbound. He just kind of nods and bows away for you, Glitterbomb.
All right, so I'll have Mage Hand kind of sweep the costume over and have it kind of dance, and I'll kind of dance along with it.
As they begin to chorus and dance and bob, very like Fantasia-esque, as they dance of their own volition. A couple of the goblins on the Overwatch, they still have their bows and arrows in hands, but they lean over and ha, cool. Yeah, pretty cool, I guess. Neat trick. And they kind of give each other a thumbs up. Roll a performance check for me. Let's get these performance rolls warmed up, shall we?
Gotta get my right. Oh, there it is.
I get myself situated so I can have my eyes on Glitterbomb.
Okay. All right.
Can I use Tides of Chaos?
Yes, you can.
All right, reroll that then.
Yep.
All right.
It'll be the first result. Okay.
Uh,
You know what? But very, very easily, as he said, they're not terribly fickle. They just like to basically have you go through the motions, and they kind of clap and, all right. Hope the story's better. And the other one on the tower, yeah, hope the story's better. And they point at each other, and friggin' just kind of says, "You did great. Don't mind them. Tough crowd." And he just kind of ushers you to the back, and he points to you, Muse. He says, "Muse, you're up, my friend. Don't let us down." And he kind of gives over to the stage, a patch of worn dirt in front of these large great gates.
Muse, I hop out of the wagon. I kind of very slowly walk up, and I look at the goblins. And all right, friends, this is the tale of Chiron the bandit. Chiron began as, let's just go with, he wasn't the best. He wasn't the best. He wasn't even someone worth spending any time with. He stole, he lied, he cheated. But, you know, there's always a girl. Now this girl, she was smart. Smarter than anyone who he's ever met before. And one day, Chiron decided he was going to be trying to steal from her shop. So Chiron, thinking he was the smartest and sharpest of the lot, went in and tried to steal from her. Now, this girl, she ends up knocking him right on his ass.
They lean forward on the rails looking down at you.
Now, this girl, she be able to use these amazing tools, much like my little friend on my shoulder here. I throw a little bit of prestidigitation at the mechanical ferret and it starts to skitter around.
They lean forward, almost falling out of the towers, intrigued.
Now she can put life in mechanical creatures, and she can create these wonderful tools. And at that point, Chiron was smitten by this girl. He realized that up to this point, he'd been living something pretty shallow compared to the world she could create for him. So at that point, Chiron dropped his sword and asked if he could learn from her and help create these worlds with her. Now, next little while, the two spent time together, and they grew quite close. You might even say Chiron decided he was actually had some right affection for her. And the ferret starts to slow down a little bit and starts to look a little lost. One day, Chiron decided he didn't want to be Chiron no more. Changed his name and decided he'd be leaving the bandit life behind and he'd be doing something different. He'd invent things that inspired people. Then one day, unfortunately, he came home and found the girl's shop was in ruins. The ferret starts to kind of topple over and begins to start acting like it's broken. And the girl left something behind for the bandit known as Chiron. And he pulls out the last word and gives the revolt, like the cylinder, a quick twist just to for the sound effect. Now the girl taught him two things. One, you can create or you can destroy, and with these skills you can choose. Now Chiron decided that he's going to be using those skills to go find that girl, and with that he takes out the ashen shotgun, aims it high, and lets loose a gout of fire.
And to punctuate the conclusion, the blast of flame and ash rises up into the air. The goblins, and there's some screeches that happen from somewhere within the fort, and they both look at each other. Wow, more on Chiron. Yeah, more on Chiron. And friggin' just kind of walks up behind you, puts a shoulder on your, or a hand on your shoulder, and nods. When we're paid, that's what we're here to do. Now, can we kindly continue with our business? And he leans into you. Nicely done, lad.
Thanks, kindly. I hop back into the wagon, and the ferret, of course, comes back to life and skitters back up with me.
All right. I can't possibly make you roll for that. As again the ground begins to tremble, and shake, and with a large crash, the two gates begin to part and scrape along the dirt as behind them, as they part, revealing the silhouette of an enormous ogre, almost toothless, face kind of somewhat misshapen, patchwork black hair, covered in hides and roughness, with a hunch. Even hunched over, he's still about 12 to 13 feet, standing tall as he presses the gate open and lumbers back and lets a large, heavy tree of a mace slam down on the ground and just waits there, lumbering. Friggin' breathes a sigh of relief, says, "That's onward. The show will go on." And he ushers everybody back into the caravan as he cracks the leathers against the hide of the beasts of burden that pull the caravan forward through the mighty gates and into the receiving district, or receiving area of the goblin fort. The forward outpost itself is impressive, if not a little rough around the edges, a marvel, at least, for goblins to achieve based on what you've come to expect from the typically sniveling, uncoordinated savages. The structures here are sturdy and well built around careful defense of the small stronghold. The ground is worn and patchy with heavy foot traffic, and dirt that comes and goes through a 3 distinct sections fort is grooved and trenched with horse tracks and wagon paths alike. There's a constant chattering of goblin speech resonant in the stale air that emanates from every corner of the fort, marked by an occasional boom of a different type of voice. You catch a glimpse of the odd hobgoblin barking orders and the occasional kick to goblin mercenaries to keep them in line. Back to work. They clearly hold station over the fort-dwelling goblins here. The rumble of the heavy footsteps touches the earth again as the large ogre continues to step back towards its shanty shed in the front section and on about his business in the fort. Like a constant hum and rumble throughout the camp. From your brief survey of the walled camp here, there's a main entrance section where the large rolling gates preside. As we continue with that, I'll give you a glimpse here. So draw your attention to the front gates. And for no reason in particular, let's just bring you guys in here. Pio goes wide-eyed as she almost seems to shrink down close to you, Muse, and she just looks pretty nervous. They'll spot me in a second. I don't know. What if they ask questions?
Keep your scarf tied tight, and just remember, friend, if you're scared, they're going to know it. If you walk in like you're owning the place, they'll believe that too.
All right, boss. You got it.
they come at you, they're coming through me first.
She kind of nods and seems to seek some comfort in your words. The first section has the shelter that houses the enormous ogre that you've seen. It continues forward as you make your way in through the camp towards... actually, I'm just going to open this up. Sorry, bear with me a quick sec here, because as they walk you through, you'll get a good preview of everything on this side of the camp. So... Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves.
Muse. What does a narrator sound like?
Talk like you're telling a story.
Like you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Don't worry none about anything else. Just tell it like how I would. Just remember, they're here to hear you talk. You don't need to be scared of them.
No one's ever listened to me talk before.
I listen to you talk.
Well, you're different. I reach out and give you a pat and a hug. You're good.
Talk like story for me. Talk like story for me.
I need more words than that. Sorry.
Paper has words. Paper tells you words.
Yeah. Hopefully I won't, I'll do okay.
As you continue to kind of converse as you make your way through the receiving area, Friggin finally pulls hard on the reins as the horses bray for the wagon and the horses to stop. It stinks to high heaven in here of must, dirt, mildew, but you've come to expect that of goblins so far. As you step out onto the wet mix of trodden grass and thick mud, you notice a few goblin wards patrolling back and forth, but they seem to pay you no mind beyond the occasional look. The larger red and gray-skinned hulking hobgoblins, however, do give you pause for thought. Far meaner looking and focused than their smaller, less regimented cousins, you find them more inclined to keep to an iron-gated section behind the stage to the east. The platform where you gather, the play is to be performed, sits centered on the open space here, roughly hewn from mixed wooden planks and about 6 inches off the ground. Friggin has already begun setting up a small walled partition and is shipping costumes and props from the back of the wagon to the makeshift dress area off stage. Otherwise, this section of the camp is marked by 2 large buildings that seem to see a lot of goblin traffic to the west and a smaller building to the north and west, all backed on the continuing nearly 20-foot-high fence that surrounds the base, marked every 30 feet or so with a prominent watchtower. He's like, all right, come on. He ushers his performers back out, and he continues to kind of fuss over the props as he's setting them up around the stage. And I'll just draw your attention here. As you see a couple of goblins begin to kind of meander about. They kind of stop. One of them leans up against one of the shacks and watches you closely, but otherwise doesn't seem to be terribly intrigued.
Did we see what shack they took Devin back into after Nightingale left?
You did not. All that you could really make out was the front receiving area where they had met and where that first exchange happened, to put it politely. And then the one goblin carried him off deeper into the fort beyond your view. But now you get a sense of how the layout kind of mirrors the existence here in the fort. But from that distance, it was difficult to really make out those details.
So, what do actors do when they're not acting?
Survey. We take survey.
See if you can spot where they might be holding Devon. Maybe pretend to be working on your lines or something. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. And I wander around, like pacing. It's my birthday. It's my birthday.
Friggin' claps and says, like, yes, good. And he kind of gestures. He says,
my
we'll
birthday.
start in about 10 minutes. Occupy yourselves. And he continues to kind of set up, puts out a little folding partition, brings one of the writing desks out behind it. Jespa sits behind one and begins to apply like green poultice to kind of put on her costume. Pio kind of looks over at her strangely. They seem to just have a bit of a performer's exchange.
I wander around to the north and see if I can see what's in that building up there as I'm reading from my script.
Okay. Just kind of use the script reading as a guise to casually wander over and peer through the big iron gates. You can see that they're fairly thick and obviously well kept. It seems to be somewhat in conflict with the rest of the fort, but it's a sliding iron gate that's locked heavily with a large padlock on the right side if you're facing it. As you kind of peer through, you can make out a little bit more of the space beyond the gates, but not too much that would belie anything of interest. Go ahead and roll a perception check for me, please.
All right.
As you're kind of taking a peek through, one of the goblins walks over to you and says, "Lost friend, stage is over there." But before
it's my birthday.
Yeah, you kind of like correct yourself and look over his shoulder, and the best you see is a stable that seems to be in the north part. It seems to be laden with fresh hay, and there's a smell of manure kind of wafting around the area. But otherwise, the stable is see-through. It's just kind of held up by posts and a thatched roof, and there's nothing in it that you can see right now, except for one horse that's tethered to the far end. As the goblin kind of ushers you back. Yeah, happy birthday, bud. Just keep moving.
Okay. I actually start to wander off. Oh gosh, sort of heading north and then towards the west. There looks like there might be a chance, and I'm basically mimicking exactly what he was doing, except our story begins. Our story begins.
Okay. And where are you
trying to be exactly
meandering?
like him.
Where are you wandering to?
I kind of start to wander up here.
Okay. Roll a perception check for me.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
As you near one of the goblins, he's kind of not paying attention to you. He seems to be shouting something back and forth. This goblin here at the tower guard in the northwest overwatch. And you kind of take the opportunity to peek around the corner. And surprisingly, what you see is a breach in the wall. It looks like the wall was broken or cracked and never really repaired. And as you're watching, something along it starts to move, and a thick board just kind of like awkwardly shakes as a goblin pokes his head through, coming back into the fort. He looks at you and sees and says, "Gargan!" And he kind of points at the other guy and points at you. The goblin turns around and says, Hey, get on out of here now. Come on, keep moving. Keep moving. And he ushers you on. He's like, the other goblin comes in through the breach, puts the plank back and runs over and starts to berate them as he ushers you away. He's like, "Wow, what? I was talking to Togar.
So that would have been over here.
It was right here.
Oh, okay.
So another goblin emerges, begins to walk over,
Uh-huh.
and they start to bicker a little bit about what had happened, and they usher you off quickly back to the stage.
Sorry, I just was so learning.
Hey, just
Stuff.
learn over there, okay? Just don't bother us. Go on. And he's, what? I don't know.
They keep arguing back and forth as Friggin starts to gather you all around.
All right, I think we're about ready to start. How are you feeling? Come on, huddled around.
He kind of gathers you. He says,
stage fright is perfectly normal, but don't worry. You're going to be fantastic. They're going to love you. They're goblins. And if it's anything he gestures to muse like what we saw outside, then maybe I'm even in for a show. And let's not forget, if it goes well enough, then who knows where this could go. I do seem to need to replace some of my talent, as you've noticed. Anyway, what say you?
First, hold up, friend.
Feeling good then, Muse?
I look to Cloud. If you're worried about anything, raise your hands. I'll create some effects for you.
Oh, okay.
Gives you a little extra showmanship on your storytelling if you're worried.
Sure. Showmanship.
Might
Okay.
like to see that myself. Not too much, though, because, I mean, they only paid for so much. All right, and you, my feather-bound friend, he gestures to Glitterbomb. Are we good?
Good. Yes.
All right. Jespa, Melia, Gravitas, old hats. I know you'll be fine. He looks at you, Drug, and he says, and may Doug Marin's best will be with us all today. We're not looking for trouble here, right?
No, we are only looking to get out with Devin.
All right, well, do me a favor then. Make sure me, mine, and my business are not pulled into it, if you will.
We're looking to get all of us out.
All
Doug
right.
Marin willing.
You may have seen our gear is not really meant for the real deal.
Aye, well, not that anything would help us against so many anyway.
That's right.
Let's see what we can do without a fight.
I think those are the wisest words I've heard on the whole ride here. In the meantime, let's just focus on a performance, collect, and get out of here with our skins intact, shall we? All right, let me do my thing, and he begins to step towards center stage. And after a moment, as he kind of gestures you behind the partition. Ladies and gentle goblin, gather round if I can have your attention, please. My name is Friggin, proprietor, curator, and maester of Friggin's Fantastical Showcase. I have the distinct pleasure, and of course with the generous patronage of our own Jumper, and he gestures towards a random goblin, and the rest of them look. And that's not Jumper. Jumper's not here. Well, it just doesn't matter. Just come on closer to the stage where the show's about to begin. It is our pleasure to perform for you a folklore classic, a tale of love and whimsy, of combat of evil versus lesser evil. Tonight, we and mine have the pleasure of performing for you the rescue of the fair goblin maiden. And he begins to clap as some of the goblins, all right, they start to gather around. 2 or 3 of them kind of amble towards the stage. They lean up against the barracks, and they just begin to kind of position themselves with some kind of view of the stage. Nothing terribly formal, as I'll just move you guys, if you don't mind, to the stage itself. As the show begins, we open on our narrator, and he kind of bows deeply and gestures for Cloud as he ushers you to the front of the stage to begin the rescue of the fair goblin maiden.
My eyes are giant and I'm holding the paper because I don't know any other way. I'm like, uh, scene 1, and I'm saying it in Goblin as well as I can.
Okay.
Because, I have to do the changes on the fly.
They start to begin to clap, kind of intrigued with this, particularly this fantastical being that the likes of which they haven't seen, speaking in their native language. A couple of them become more intrigued now as they start to gather around the stage. Go ahead, Clyde.
Okay. Our story begins in the Moonsea region, perhaps not far from where we sit now. It was a fair night, with the cold tendrils of air held at bay thanks to the large fire by the goblin tribe had built. It was an evening of festivity as Bricka, the mighty goblin commander, celebrated his birthday with his tribe.
You told her to do like you.
Her goblin is southern. I love it. Amazing.
That's awesome. All right. I enter the stage with my chest puffed out. It is my birthday today.
Pio's just kind of grinning wildly as she sorry, she stepped on your line. Bad actor.
No, she's up.
She looks up and she's like, and I'm happy.
What? Fine.
And she jumps up and are you happy?
Yes.
The crowd replies, "Happy birthday!" as they all echo in a chorus, which apparently is a custom that goes with this play, as the audience kind of calls back to the stage members. And when this play is typically performed, that is how it's done. "Happy birthday!" they yell to you, Bricka. Snots turns around and is carrying a letter. And Bricka, Commander, this was found in your daughter's hut. They kind of laugh at her and she smiles. She hands the letter to Bricka as she turns and just smiles at the audience widely.
I grab the letter and I look nervously at the audience and back at Pio. Ambrosia, the fairest goblin maiden of the land, is now my prisoner. You will pay me the sum of 1,000 gold pieces and bring me Bricka's head. Or I'll deliver the head of the fair maiden to you in 2 days. What shall we do? I know Grug will not honor his word. Why would he return my fair maiden daughter to me? We shall have a meeting and plan a secret mission. Snots, go gather Booga and Pimpam.
I will do just that, mighty Bricka.
And she scurries off the stage.
Right before she gets to the end, I remember my line. Oh, and Snots, what were you doing in my daughter's hut?
She looks and flips through her pages. She looks back at the audience with her page.
Oh, I was merely fluffing her pillows before bedtime. I often do that.
The crowd laughs and giggles uproarious as in response to this.
You are such a good friend.
Pio breathes and scurries off the stage quickly, almost completely overwhelmed by her stage fright. As the first scene of the play continues and comes to a close, the goblins kind of cheer and they're talking. You seem to have captured certainly the attention of the few who have gathered here first on. And over the course of the first scene, a few more goblins begin to pile out of some of these buildings, intrigued by what's going on. A couple of them come down from the towers. And most notably, you hear the as the ground begins to shake, and the two great doors here to the south of this section swing wide open as the ogre, kind of dumbfounded, turns around and looks, scratches his head, kind of comes in and slumps down heavily on the grass with his hands over his knees, intrigued by what you're doing as well, quite interested in what's happening here. As scene 2 begins.
Scene 2, the plan. Bricka gathered a few of his most trusted and seasoned goblins, the powerful and perhaps charismatic fighter Snots, the spell-slinging Booga, and the cunning and hilarious Pam Pam. Quartet made a plan, then set off to rescue the fair maiden Ambrosia.
Ooh, the crowd as those actors begin to pile around. Glitterbomb, Gravitas, and Melia begin to gather around this fake fire that's in the center of the stage. And as they continue to plan, let's say they start to plot and plan around the campfire, these actors continue to engage like they're fabricating a plot to extract the fair goblin maiden. And as the second scene begins to play out, as you just improv back and forth, go ahead and roll a performance check for me. I will need one from Bricka, a.k.a. Drogan. Snots will roll the two other performers, and Pim Pam, a.k.a. Glitterbomb, now performing in the center of stage.
Question. Can I throw some prestidigitation to give some stage effects to give them advantage?
Absolutely. You can take these rolls with advantage. If you've already rolled, go ahead and keep them, but you'll take the advantage roll. Yep.
Great.
As the flame, actually, which is just kind of cardboard roughly painted, begins to almost illuminate, glow, and start to move wildly and become actually very flame-like as Muse quietly from the wings begins to weave an incantation over it. Well, how does that work, Muse?
I'm going to throw animate the fire, as well as I'm going to throw some faint musical notes. Okay. And when Cloud does her narration as well, I'm going to add little puffs of smoke from her hands when she gestures.
Nice. And what is this mechanically? Is this thaumaturgy?
Prestidigitation and thaumaturgy.
Okay, gotcha. So a combination of these colored spells as you flesh out the narrative with these grand effects. And Gravitas is kind of like taken aback, and he's looking at his own hands, seemingly convinced that he's the one doing this from the stage. As more goblins begin to gather around, and the performers prepare for Act 2. And you know what, Cloud, you're doing so well. I'll get you to read out the parentheses as well. Do you have those on yours? Grug stands by a fire. Do you have that? Awesome.
Yep. So, sure.
Scene 3, yeah.
Grug stands by a fire in his own camp, holds a rope tied around Ambrosia's neck.
Ha ha ha! Soon I'll have your father's head to add to my trophy collection.
And Jespa suddenly is almost taken aback by the flames, and she looks frozen for a moment, but she digs deep and draws inspiration from your effects. No! Please, no. My father is the greatest goblin in all the land. Please release me and let him live.
I'll add some faint musical notes, kind of sad song, as before it starts to crescendo to my line again. I'll never release you, not even if the ransom demands are met. You'll be my prisoner forever.
No.
Yes.
No. Over the top, completely overacting this as Jesper weaves into the role.
Yeah.
No.
Meanwhile, the little mechanical ferret is mimicking me now.
Enter Bricka, Snots, Booga, and Pam Pam stealthily making their way closer to Grug and Ambrosia.
As they're making their way to stage, Pio's still like, everyone's kind of pretending to be stealthy. Pio's just kind of still looking at the crowd like I'm a goblin who made it. And then she's looking out to the crowd, and or Jespa as Ambrosia continues, "But I've fallen in love with a mighty goblin warrior. His name is Snots." And she gestures. She begins to kind of slow her voice down. "And he's strong and handsome. He's so sweet. He fluffs my pillows every night."
Bricka jabs Snots in the backside when he hears the above. Snots stifles a cry.
I bet he does.
"Please," she moves close to you, "please don't take that away from me."
Take everything from you.
Oh, sorry.
She nudges you, Muse.
There's some sneaking, though.
You'll have to kill me first.
Jesper ducks back.
Startled, drops the rope, drops his longsword, and prepares for battle.
I use prestidigitation to start some battle music. Let's have at it!
As it turns, the music begins to emanate throughout the camp as Grug and Bricka face off.
An epic sword fight ensues. Eventually, Grug starts to win, battling Bricka to the ground.
See who's your better. This'll be your last night.
But it's my birthday.
Drawing sword high in the air.
Let this be your last present.
Entering the battle, saying in unison,
"You'll not deliver that gift while we still live."
Yeah.
the battle continued beyond the Might Grug and the goblins. Impam is slashing. Pimpam is slashed by Grug's sword and falls. Booga also falls, not by Grug's hand, but because his spell backfires. Ambrosia yells at Grug as he turns to impale her father with his longsword, delivering the final blow. But just as the blade is about to strike, Snots leaps into the path of the blade, saving Bricka. Ambrosia screams as she sees her beloved Snot impaled by the blade. Pimpam takes this opportunity to cast a spell on Grug, a spell which makes him keel over with laughter. Bricka, covered in Snot's blood, rises, takes his blade, and stabs the bellowing orc, dropping him to the ground.
"Oh, Father, I'm happy you are well, but poor Snots." Jesper rushes to Pio's side and kind of bends over, crying into the stage.
Yes, not sacrificed himself to save me.
He kind of looks around
Goodness.
and then scrambles to their feet as they kind of pull you together to line up on the stage, and the goblins, there's a moment of silence as they all wide-eyed kind of look at you back and forth, and then like raucous applause as clap for clap they begin to cheer and hoot and holler. The ogre even stands up and is like, just seeming to follow suit. But you have noticed that two of the red painted gray-skinned hobgoblins have come to. They seem pretty intrigued. They seem to be grinning, and they look around and they begin to offer you claps too. And before long, dozens of goblins are surrounding you, their claps collectively echoing in a sea of applause for the new performance that they've experienced and their genuine appreciation for your play. As they begin to gather everyone together, Friggin steps up and he's like, "Fantastic, capital performance, everyone. Now for the final, the song." And he kind of gathers you. He sits in front. And he gestures for you to lift your music. He begins to conduct. And in unison, we will sing. As he counts you in. You guys ready?
1,
Nope.
2, 3.
I
Sing
sing
a
a
song of love for you. A
a wish of joy
and
and
peace for you. The goblins start to
for
sing along
you.
too. My
My heart
heart is
is
yours until
yours
the
until the
end
end
of
of my love for you will never
end.
end.
May
May
your life be filled with
with
joy. May your life be filled with
with
joy. And
Joy.
friggin' breathes deep at the masterpiece in the opus which is performed before him as he jumps up on stage and bows deep, and all the goblins continue to elevate their raucous applause as they continue until well into the late afternoon. Now they begin to mill about as more goblins begin to arrive and just become completely enamored with the talent that is laid out before him, as before them rather, as the crowd just continues to be completely in awe as Friggin looks around and he says, "Well done. I think you've earned a moment's respite. We'll take our time to break down. Keep your profiles low and make sure you make time for your adoring fans, right?" And he begins to collect some of the props from the stage, leaving you free to mingle with your adoring fans.
I grab a hold of Drogon before we start mingling.
Okay.
And I sort of try to whisper, there's a way out. There's a way out. To the west, just behind that shack. And I gesture. And then I suddenly realize what I'm doing and pull my hand back and step away.
Good spot. Let's see if we can find Devin now.
Okay.
While all of this is, while everyone's distracted, perhaps they can get their palms read or something for a while, and we'll see what we can find.
Maybe there could be something that happens that will make them all look in one direction.
I look at the others. Should we trust the theater troupe to cause the distraction, or should I try and tell them another tall tale?
I think it couldn't hurt. They seemed to like yours before.
I'm going to I'm gonna go up to Cloud and I'll be ask I need bathroom. Ask I need bathroom.
Oh, okay. I wander over to a goblin that's close by that looks like he's in a really good mood. Pick the most jovial, I guess. And in goblin, hey, friend.
They start to gather around. And you're like, wow, that was amazing. Yeah, I had a brother in Baldur's Gate who was a performer, but not nearly as good as you. One of them kind of gathers around and says, yeah. Are you from here? Like, where did you learn to act? Yeah, they start to bombard you with questions as an almost childhood glee. They gather around you completely enamored.
I'm from a far off land over yonder.
Wow, far off land. Targo tells jokes. Yeah, tell her a joke, Targo. Nah, you don't want to hear my jokes. Well, okay.
I'd love to hear your joke.
Okay, Targo begins to dust off his hide, and he says, okay, I think, I'm choking a little bit.
It's okay. You don't have to tell it. It's okay.
Wait, I got a good one.
Where's-
My dad used to always tell it.
I'm going to kind of make a chirpy noise, trying to sound urgent.
Okay. Oh, I remember. What did one Triton say to the other?
I do not know.
Blah, 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 blah. They both they kind of tap each other. That's a good one. I remember that's what gets me every time. I always forget the punchline. Yeah, well, Dad told it better than me, but I'm hoping to
You
take it on the
did a
road.
good job.
Yeah. Hey,
So
you should
if
hire him.
a little bird needed to use the facilities, where would she go?
A bird. Where does a bird use the facilities?
Well, my friend here. My friend right here.
Oh, I don't. Well, I guess that's a good question. I guess. Well, we always just go outside, and the other goblin taps him, just like a cop. I guess just pick a corner, maybe. And just kind of the other goblin looks at the ground. Is there
anywhere where more private that she could go?
Why they look back and forth one another? Why did you need something private? Yeah. Why private? That's a waste of a good house.
Can't pee when other people are watching.
Well, that's tricky
I'm just
for
gonna
a performer.
stand there watching her cluelessly.
She would literally throw up and die and possibly even explode if she doesn't get to an area where she can be in private.
God, can we just Targo? No. Roll a persuasion check with advantage for me, please.
Okay. There we go. Ooh. Oh.
Yeah. He says, all right. They kind of look around. They say, all right, just come here. And they kind of gesture for you to follow them over behind the westmost barracks. As you round the corner, Targo, the jokester, looks over his shoulder, kind of looks from you to Glitterbomb and says, all right, look, you can't tell anyone, okay, but call it kind of like the backstage door. Through there, you see that little plank that's kind of loosely nailed to the wall? That'll get you just outside the gate, just outside the fort, but you don't get caught, okay? And if you do, we never told you about it.
Okay, Mom's the word.
All right, just hurry up. We'll keep an eye out. If we call, though, you better get back here quickly. And he points at Glitterbomb. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm looking at Cloud. In confusion.
Right, you don't
go.
Goblin. You need to go out through that crack. Pretend that you're actually going to the bathroom. Come on, let's go. Let's go have a pee.
The three of them kind of take station against the corner, and they're looking around the edge of the shack to make sure that no one interrupts. Okay. Come on, go. Okay. We don't have all day. What if Jumper comes?
Go see what's out there.
You don't want a Jumper to find you out there. Or worse, Grouse. Yeah, they say, don't piss Grouse off.
Okay, so I go out through the wall and just start looking around to see if I can find any hiding places and that sort of stuff.
As you step through, you immediately become aware of two goblins that are just beyond the crack, and they kind of jump and look at you as you peek through. They're both kind of frozen in shock, and what hits you first is the waft of this pungent smoke that seems to be billowing in the area there as two of them are kind of passing this wood-carved pipe back and forth, and they they dash the pipe embers on the ground, and they stomp it out. They say, whoa, hey, who are you? And we'll pause you there. What are the rest of you doing as Glitterbomb has now made her way outside the perimeter?
I stay on the inside until I hear the voices, and then I'm going to go out and help her. I was going to pretend to be keeping watch while she, needed her privacy. Okay. But I'll pop out there to help her because she is not good with words.
Okay. As Cloud takes the cue and deftly kind of squeezes through the planks, you push them apart as you step outside the perimeter and behold this kind of spectacle as well. Drogon.
I'm going to hang out on the backstage and see if I can look through those bars a little bit more.
Okay.
And what's over there.
don't you roll a stealth check for me as you're looking for an opportunity in the hubbub of the crowd to break away and catch a peek behind the gridiron bars that are separating this. And as soon as you step off the stage, one of the burly, kind of gray-skinned hobgoblins just immediately steps in front of you, folds his burly arms. He stands a full foot ahead, cracks his neck, the black, thick, wet, stanky, matted hair falling around his bare shoulders. You, looking for something, my friend?
Yeah,
Cracks his
what's
jaw.
you got any more of your friends back there? Might want
Plenty.
to see some more of the show.
You don't want to see them, and they don't want to see you. You're a fine performer. You want to keep your head where it is. It's more difficult to make money when it's removed.
Yeah. No, I get that. Absolutely.
He kind of
But
gestures
perhaps-
towards the stage.
I'll saunter back over.
Okay. As he kind of pushes you back to the stage. Muse. Pio's kind of keeping a close angle with you. All the goblins seem really enamored with her, though, as she begins to kind of take her cues from you, Muse, and she spins this fantastic tale of, when I was a kid, I was in acting lessons, and I gave it up. I dabbled here and there, but, it was really in school is where I began to shine. And soon she has, like, her own audience of 4 or 5 goblins, and she's spinning this total BS tale that is just awe-inspiring. It looks like your noble work has taken hold in this young acolyte of yours.
I will, as Pio's spinning her tail, I'll start trying to draw some more goblins forward. Come on, y'all. Listen to the tale of Pio, the first goblin hero.
Nice. I'll give you a performance or persuasion, your choice. As the lumbering oafish ogre crashes back through the gates, slams these 2 wooden doors closed, separating his section off, and seems to return back to whatever area he came from.
I'll do persuasion.
Okay. Okay, as you begin to gather them around. It's really difficult to corral them as they're all kind of excitedly talking, but you manage to pull another one away from her position at the barracks and gather up a sizable crowd, maybe 4 or 5 strong. As they begin to gather around, they sit on the grass too and eagerly are enraptured with Pio's tale.
I see Drogon is getting kind of gestured back to the stage, and I look over to that goblin. Hey, friend, want to hear the tale? You should come up and listen to the tale of Pio, the goblin hero. Either that, or if you want, I can tell you a joke.
He sighs heavily. He says, I think I've had my fill of tales today. You did a good job, but you should leave it at that.
That's about respectable, friend.
Right.
And he takes the news station over by the gate and just kind of leans up on it with one foot up on the iron bars. There's another goblin to the south of you, though. Another hobgoblin to the south of you, though, who's similar stature, tied tightly with like cream-colored stained wraps, just burly and lean, sinewy muscle. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check with advantage. See if you can raise the other one. As you turn, you catch his eye, and he just kind of raises an eyebrow, looks over at his counterpart as the other hobgoblin moves towards the gate, rests his eyes back on you, and says, "I could do with a little more entertainment, I suppose."
That's about right. It's respectable, friend. I'd be more than
Right.
happy to continue providing y'all some entertainment.
Sure.
You want to hear a tale, or you want to hear a joke to start?
Dealer's choice.
Well, how about this? We'll start with the joke, and then we'll move into the tale of the Redemption Choir.
He just kind of nods and entertain.
All right, you got me.
All right. Well, let's do the joke first, then, friend. There's 2 sorcerers. They're chatting over this this one sorcerer has bought himself a brand shiny new wand of fireball. The other sorcerer looks at him and goes, "That's about right. Impressive weapon. What you need it for?" The other sorcerer looks, mimics. The sorcerer laughs. The potion laughs. The other sorcerer laughs and then shoots the mimic.
Roll a performance check for me.
Totally should be with advantage for that.
I'll give you advantage on it. That's pretty good. Zargan, you should check this out. This guy's got jokes. Yeah, why don't you just focus on your job? Oh, come on. When do we get a break? Why don't you line up a bit?
Come on, friend. It's not like I'm actually any trouble. I just talk.
The other hobgoblin looks over his shoulder and says, "All right." He kind of walks over, passes you Drogon, kind of gives you one of these as he passes by and moves over to where Muse and Pio are. "All right, lay it on me." And with that, we'll move back to the outside of the premises where Glitterbomb and Cloud now are faced with these two goblins who both seem equally kind of shocked and terrified. Who are you and what are you doing here?
We're with the acting troupe that just finished the show in there, and we needed to come out here for a secret smoke.
Damn, Geo. The show was today. Oh no, did we miss the show?
You did, and it was good.
I told you, Karen. We're supposed to be watching the show. I had a nice patch of dirt in front of the grass all ready to go.
I kind of jostle Glitterbomb a bit and say, "The show was really good, right?"
Yes, very good. I chirp happy.
That's great. Hey, do you think you can give us a little sampling since we missed it? Yeah, that would be really great.
I don't know, because I think our troop boss would be really angry at us because that would cost extra.
Hey, don't worry about it. We know all about shitty bosses. Hey, just like keep it, someone might
Shitty
hear and
bosses.
you never know. Hey,
It's
all right.
okay. So we won't tell if you don't tell.
Hey, roll a persuasion check for me.
We just wanted to come out for a pee, man.
Hey, they just wanted to smoke their hobbit leaf.
I know. Bad, not bad. 19.
Yes. Hey, we're all friends here. No one needs to know. It's fine. We got you. Mum's the word, okay? You both be cool. And they just kind of back in through the breach and they just kind of, it's the two of them kind of make their way through the clapboards.
Don't get your coin flipped.
Right. Yeah. And they're like actors. They just kind of make their way into the breach, leaving you both out there alone.
Okay, so we look around and see as much as we can see out here.
So
Like
from
looking for blind spots,
A
hide
path out.
places.
Yeah.
From the outside where you are right now, you are directly under one of the Overwatch towers. This one seems like it is a little bit more obscured from the other parts of the fort. To the north, there's another tower that kind of just juts out of view beyond the 20-foot wall that eclipses your viewpoint from across there. And to the south, there's another row of 4 towers that are more grouped around the main gate. But if you look above, you just kind of see the green folded hands of a goblin who's leaning over the rail, just kind of looking out towards the horizon. Pulls an arrow from his quiver, knocks it in his bow, just kind of pulls. You hear the blink, blink of him testing the string. Puts the quiver back, shoulders his bow, leans back out. You just see kind of the underside. You see the hands kind of appearing over the rail and just the long goblin snout as it looks from the south to the north. Stops, leans back. Just seems to be trying to bide his time on his watch or her watch.
So would it look to us like if we were to sneak along the outside of the wall, that we would be able to stay out of view of any of the watchtowers?
Roll a perception check for me.
Can I roll a perception check also?
Yes, one of you can roll with advantage.
I'll give you the advantage. I don't think I can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll take the first roll. It doesn't matter; it's a 19 either way, I guess. So as you kind of flatten your back against the wall, making yourself as tiny and flat as you can, you look up and down, and you can kind of gauge. Okay, if I can't see them, they can't see me, type of thing. You slowly even slink a few feet to the south, and you notice that as the wall begins to curve in towards the gate, there's a point where another tower is stationed there, facing off to the south and west. The north, it kind of bends around pretty far, and that overwatch seems to be the most difficult one to see from where you are positioned.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine that if you were to go straight out from the wall, you might have about 30, 40 feet before you're in full view of that one lone scout. Any further to the north, it's difficult to see. There are a couple of trees and some high stones that might provide some cover, but it's difficult to tell from where you are how much line of sight that tower scout on the northwest side has over that area of the valley. The south seems a little bit more treacherous, but at the same time, there's a shorter distance from the wall to the south and the forest line that could provide some cover beyond. There's only about 30 to 40 feet between. To the west, there's open valley, but only one tower. To the north, there's more tower coverage, but there's also some other obstacles that mark the valley.
But if we were to stay right up against the wall, like...
Presumably, based on what you can tell, it would be difficult for the towers to get a bead on you if you were against the wall the whole time. Because these towers are like 35 feet high, and they're platformed. So anything that's directly under and along the wall, they might have a difficult time seeing. And even if they could, they would certainly have a hard time shooting directly down. At your best guess, you'd say you're protected for about maybe 10 to 15 feet before you start to get in trouble out from the wall. So it's almost like a buffer of about 15 feet around the whole wall where the towers would have a difficult time.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'm thinking is wondering if we would be able to get to different parts of the fort by going around the outside.
Well, my friend, that you would have to attempt.
I know. I just thought I would share what I was thinking about.
There's only one entity that has the answer to that, and they are dice.
From what I remember when we saw it from a distance, there's spikes and stuff coming up off the top of the wall.
Yeah, as you look up, you can definitely see like intentional points filed into all the logs that make up this surrounding perimeter.
Okay.
And with that intel, as you continue to gather and collect your thoughts and think of a way that you might be able to circumnavigate the fort safely, we'll jump back into the center where the healthy commotion is still continuing. Friggin is completely elated as he and his troop members are making their way throughout the crowd. You do see him approach one of the goblins that has a red sash and some white strokes of paint over its forehead, and they seem to be exchanging words. They seem to be locked in some kind of conversation. Drogon, what are you doing at this point?
Is that goblin still over by the gate, or did he go over to?
The two goblins now are pretty enthralled with Pio's story and Muse, thanks to Muse's healthy bargaining and the very distinct and unique factor that PO seems to come with as well. For now, they seem to have turned their attention away from you.
Can only tap dance for so long.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep, we're gonna run out of time sooner or later. I will try again to wander around and see if I can't. I mean, if I can't get over by that gate, then maybe I can see what's in the building up to the north of us.
So you kind of slowly ease your way over to the gate, keeping one eye on the hobgoblin who already has grown irate with you for doing the same. Go ahead and roll a stealth check for me again.
Can't roll less than 10 all night, right?
Eventually, the odds have to come back to you. Or do
Before
they?
he rolls, can I say if I'm putting on like the show with prestidigitation and thaumaturgy?
Yes, you
I'm
can have
creating a good
advantage.
hubbub?
Yes.
You're welcome. That's the best I can do.
That's true. That's fair. You guys are definitely tag teaming this, and that's helpful. As now the only goblin, there's only one goblin who's even in proximity. So are you moving to the gate, or are you moving over to the barracks?
Towards the gate if I can. I still think that it's...
Yeah, so as you
I mean, I don't
casually
know
kind of...
exactly where he'd be, but I don't think he'd be in the barracks, so...
Yeah, you sort of
imagine
path along the gate, and as Muse, you kind of catch Drogon out of the corner of your eye, and you ramp up like sparks into the air, sounds and smoke that are swirling to really punctuate the milestones of Pio's exciting story about how she broke through from the shackles of mundane normality to escape into the life of the theater. And Drogon, as you take this moment to kind of look around, unharassed, you can get a better view of the district to the east, though still blocked by this solid gate. And now you can get a pretty good angle on just about everything in there that's not blocked by the wall itself. So to the north, you see this stable that is clearly meant to corral horses. There's only one gray mare, somewhat underfed, fresh hay that seems to be there for their keep, and a couple of troughs with stale water, seemingly. Directly across the yard and towards the east wall, you see a shack, and this house is a little bit better kept than the ones that you've seen the goblins inhabit. This actually looks like a much better structure. It's clapboard, nailed together, well thatched to keep out the elements. Seems to be of somewhat of a higher stature. And as you're scanning very quickly, immediately your attention's drawn to a small cart just to the south. It's leaning forward as though once hitched upon hitched to a horse, now leaning forward with no horse to be seen, and erupting from it bars that rise up, capped by an iron top, and in the cage slumps the form of a human who's facing away from you, and you can just see them sitting around hay, dressed in finery otherwise, short-cropped but otherwise long brown hair, almost shoulder length, as the individual seems to be just picking up straw and throwing it through the bars. Sits back in his head rests, or her head, his or her head, unable to tell at the moment, rests back against the bars.
Excellent. As soon as I spot that the jail wagon, I will start to make my way back to the stage. I don't know where it's at, and see if I can't get Muse's attention.
Okay, one of the goblins rushes up to you and says, Hey, you there! And he rushes up, kind of grabs you. You feel a small goblin hand on your arm as he pulls you around, starts to turn you, looks at you wide-eyed, and thrusts into your chest a small parchment and a quill and says, Bricka, right? Can I have your autograph? It would mean the world to me.
It's my birthday.
That's the line. That's the line. You did it. Happy birthday. A couple of other goblins rush over.
Birthday.
Thanks. And he immediately shows it to his friend and goes off, and you can see them kind of pining over it. And as you look over your shoulders, you walk away. He seems to be trying to sell it now to his friend. as they're haggling over the price of the autograph. You turn your attention back to Muse.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Muse, I've found him. See if you can't find something else for all of these goblins to do for a bit.
Hi, friend. I'll see if I can spin up another tall tale. Can you get through the gate?
Doubtful. What is it? I imagine it's long bars and such. What is the? Tell me more about this gate over there.
Sorry, what's that?
Tell me more about the gate that's
As best you could tell,
separating these.
as you were looking over it, there's it's a sliding gate. It seems to slide into the north section of the wall, or somewhere beyond the north section of the wall. It's marked by long, thick iron rods that are about 5 to 6 inches apart. And at the side, you could see there's just like a large kind of iron plate with a padlock that's latched through it. It's about this big. And a couple of keyholes that seem to work in tandem. Otherwise, it seems like it's locked pretty fast. The goblins, the hobgoblins that you're entertaining, Muse look back and forth as you have this exchange. Said, "So what are we done? Is that it?"
Nah, friend. I'm getting ready for the next one. It's going to be called The Tale of the Devil Said Bang.
All right. Well, I guess we can't miss that one then. First one's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie.
If you like the last tale, friend, this one's gonna knock your socks off. And part of it is actually gonna be the audience participation. So what I'm gonna need from all y'all is to get coming close. Certain parts, the tale is gonna depend upon you and your ability and cheering for Pio and myself.
Yeah.
Chiron to prevail against those who oppose us. And you know what? After that, I think we should make a tale of Chiron in this fort.
Oh,
What do you all think?
I don't want to miss that. I don't want to miss that. That sounds like a good one. I want to hear that one. All right. Well, if one of us has to get back to Grouse, I'll go.
Me and Pio are going to tell you a tale that will be with you for eons.
Look, friend, you're a good performer. Some of us have to be responsible, so if you'll excuse me, I'll go deal with Grouse. One more story, Link. One more. Yeah, just one more. Just this one. It's gonna be good. You're gonna miss it.
Who's Grouse?
He looks up at you. What?
Who's Grouse?
What odds? I didn't say that. Kind of disregards you, and he begins to walk back towards the gate. The other one sitting on the ground looks at you. He's like, "The big boss. Don't worry about it. Bark's worse than his bite, really."
I add on. Do you think Russ would actually want to hear this story as well?
No. If Gross is here, we ain't.
Are you sure, friend? I'd hate to be getting y'all in trouble if he finds out that there was this tale of excitement and wonder, and he missed out.
I see. Yeah. The other one moves to the gate. The one who's heading back in to be the responsible one looks over his shoulder. Now what? You think Grouse would want to, see it, they've partake, have some fun? No, I don't. He begins to fidget with a key ring at his belt, pulls a couple out, slips 2 into the lock. Slide the gate. Steps through. On the other side. And out of sight. Oh well. Grouse is lost, right? Who cares? Boss is a bit of a sod. Anyway. No fun, that one. Anyway. Go on.
Alright, friend. I'd be more than happy to spin you a tale that's gonna be with you for all the time, and I go full showman mode and try and gather as many goblins around as I can. This time it's going to be the tale of the tiefling who is exiled to the tiefling and his goblin companion who are exiled to one of the dark planes, who then, through luck, determination, and pure intelligence, con their way back to the real lands, and just continuing this on and drawing, and again, same as before, prestidigitation, thaumaturgy, to play it up and pull as much attention off Drogon as possible. I also draw out my thieves' tools. I shake Drogon's hand and I give him my thieves' tools just to give him a chance against that lock.
Roll a sleight of hand with advantage.
Got it.
As the hobgoblin begins to clap, say, "Yo, hey, get over here!" And he begins to actually command the goblins to come join in. Now he's totally enamored with you. So the goblins don't waste any time in kind of answering to the hobgoblins. It's a soft sell for them anyway, as they would love to participate. It's a good break for them, even with the hobgoblins watching now, to be encouraged. This is unheard of. As you very deftly kind of shake Drogon's hand, just as he turns around to gather up more goblins, with a subtle clink, the small pouch lands on the ground, unnoticed.
I mutter under my breath, "Good luck, friend. I'll do my best."
I scoop it up and head back to the back.
Okay. As Muse turns his attention back to Pio, who's got her kind of contingent of audiences as she's continuing to regale them with the tales. And now Muse creating this show, this epic tale in light and smoke. And as Drogon deftly, slowly begins to take that advantage to slip away from the crowd, we go to the outside of the perimeter where Cloud and Glitterbomb are still looking north and west, trying to get a better vantage on how the defenses of this fort are situated.
I think we should try to sneak around the other side from the outside.
I make noise, distract.
Okay. Yeah, try that. Maybe that'll help.
So I'm going to kind of basically stand right underneath the platform and kind of try to throw my voice to make a little bit of like the noises of like a boar or something snuffling around in the undergrowth.
Okay. Roll I'll give you performance or deception, your choice. And if you roll higher than a 10, I'll give you advantage on your stealth.
Get the right one.
So you're going to clack your beak together and form the...
Think it's going to be deception.
Okay. As you begin to create and mimic these sounds. Impressive, Cloud, even by your standard, as a begins to emanate from a shrubbery bush against a rock about 10 feet and 15 to the south. As you hear the what? As the slip of an arrow being removed from its quiver, you look up to see the gnarled green hand of the goblin high above you string the bow, knock an arrow, and pull and begin to survey the area to the south, leaving your north clear. And I'll get you both to roll a stealth check with advantage for me.
Both of us?
Yep. Okay, you seize this moment. Nice. Thank God for advantage. Thank God for advantage. You seize this moment to flatten yourselves against the rough bark of the great logged wall, and you slide again. Even the shimmying against the rough bark doesn't bother you as you deftly continue to crouch low and slide along. The north wall is probably your best option, but of course that's up to you. Which way are you headed?
I thought it probably looked like the best option as well.
Yeah, so I think we'd probably go north.
Okay.
Here we go.
As you slink along the north side of the wall, you put 10 feet behind you. The only thing that belies your location is the raucous laughter and cheers of the goblin contingent emanating from somewhere far beyond the wall. Crash! A rocketing display of lights and smoke emanate into the afternoon air as the booming voice of Muse begins to carry over, regaling the troops with a tale. You move another 20 feet, 25 feet behind you. Before long, you're directly situated underneath the second tower, unbeknownst as you make your way up and curve around the north facade of the fort defenses. Again, you make your way another 15 feet east before you hit a rough patch where the wall is kind of slapped against each other. You slowly look around quickly and duck back. You see another goblin on an open platform patrolling slowly with a spear in his hand and a bow slung over his arrow. This expanse of the valley is wide open, but there's a large boulder underneath and a small cluster of rocks that might provide some cover if you can make it with another stealth check.
Mm-hmm.
Glitterbomb, you're about to curve around the outside of the wall. As your beak just begins to enter the goblin's line of sight, he looks over. His eyes go wide and he looks towards the wall. Cloud, you grab Glitterbomb, pull her back as the goblin just kind of peruses for a minute, shrugs it off and turns his attention back eastward, leaving you open to continue your traverse along the east wall. You make it safely, the full 35 feet to the rock, and slowly crouch down, finding a settling underneath the platform above and the rock to your left, which creates this beautiful little nook for you to hide in. You wait for a moment as the feet on the platform above you, the boots striking the wood, sending dust and dirt scattering down. It clatters over your shoulders. You keep deathly quiet. Before long, the boots begin to move away from the platform as you're the goblin descending from the tower before he moves off and out of sight. You're now free and clear. This is your moment. As you look eastward and continue your gait towards the far wall, uninhibited, unhindered, as you round the corner and you see another goblin in a similar fashion with a javelin and an arrow nock looking out eastward. What do you want to do?
Oh, wow. So he's looking eastward right now.
That's right. Yep. So he's facing out this way.
Okay, so this is probably the only chance we're going to get. I don't assume he would ever look southward, so guess we're going to have to... actually... I pull Glitterbomb back and say, I wonder if we would be able to go up here on this side, because that guard is gone. What do you think? Do you want to try? We can try to climb quietly.
Muse has friend rope.
Oh, Muse has the rope.
As the time clocks.
Can climb. I'm gonna climb. You stay here, okay? I'm just gonna climb up and see what I can see.
I'm going to try to hide as best I can in that spot.
I'm gonna climb, and I have a 20 climbing speed.
All right, Glitterbomb, you gather your feathers and cloaks around you and hunch low, trying to create more obscurity from the patrolling goblin on the tower to the east. Cloud, you turn.
How tall is the wall, Brad?
At least 20 feet to the carved points at the top. Look up.
Okay, that's fine.
You flex your claws and begin to scale the wall. Roll an athletics check for me, too. As you begin to press yourself up against the bark, finding an easy foothold. I'll give you advantage on this because it's raw log, and you're a cat, so I think that makes sense. In the meantime, back by the gate, Drogon, now seizing the opportunity of the distraction of the goblins in this great this great extravaganza that Muse is creating to cover your approach to the gate. You fumble. You bring out the thieves' tools, and what do you do?
I had one other idea.
Sure.
It's just as I'm heading over there and passing to the backstage. Is there a small box or chest of some kind that I could snag as I'm walking back over there.
As Friggin has been pulled away from his duties of collapsing the stage and striking the set, you do see the partition where this offstage dressing area was created, and there are a couple of chests absolutely and crates where he was in the middle of putting costumes back in the boxes, preparing to leave before he's pulled away.
I just need one that looks like it might hold some gold or something as a backup plan.
You kind of take a quick glance at the dressing table that was created, and you notice immediately the small box of poultices and powders that Jespa was using to do her makeup. Looks like it might be serviceable for that purpose.
All right, grab one of those.
Okay, you quickly grab it silently, and then what?
And I head back over towards the gate.
Okay.
And see if I'll try and sneak.
Okay.
If I get noticed, I'm gonna call out to the goblin that just went through just before.
Are you proficient with thieves' tools?
Nope.
Okay, so this will be a straight dexterity check. Give me a second here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this will be a straight dexterity check.
Okay.
As you quickly look over your shoulder and you begin to fumble with the thieves' tools, but you breathe low, summon Dugmarin's steady divinity as you pull a couple of pieces through. Take the opportunity, you jam a small pry bar into the first hole, stick a small pin that looks like it would serve your purpose into the next. You find a crook in the tumbler, and you slowly pull it back, and with a ratcheting click, it cracks. No, it doesn't crack, sorry. It creaks into and gives with a silent click as the first one releases. You pull back the tools and begin to work on the second. Roll another dexterity check for me, please.
Make it 2 locks.
The audience still enthralled with Muse's performance. And the second one is you press in, God's damned, as a small pin slips out of your grip and falls into the mechanism. Cursed, so close, halfway there, and as you rise your eyes, you look through the bars, and in the far wall to the north, you see something moving, oddly enough, because nothing else is making any kind of motion at this point, but you kind of step back and breathe for a moment, bewildered at the sight of Cloud, as her small furred hands begin to reach over the top of the north wall and pull whiskers, ears, and eyes, peering over. And she steps to the top. Cloud, do you drop down?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the chance of possibly getting hurt.
Roll me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Okey
Or a
dokey.
stealth check, actually, I'll give you.
Stealth check?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And with silent
advantage would even have helped that.
with silent feline grace, Cloud lands hard on the ground with a crack and a small oomph whimpers as you slowly see the goblin on the far east tower turn his attention almost in slow motion, drawing his attention to the northward where this commotion has happened behind the stables. And that's where we'll end our session for tonight.
Oh my god.
This Cloud is now on the south side of the gate, somewhat exposed. We'll have to wait to see what happens next time on DM's Guild Showcase in 2 Wednesdays' time. Woo! It's getting tense in here. What an amazing performance, literally. I don't know if you're just joining us, but if you missed the actual play, you have to go back and watch the VOD. That's incredible. I'll for surely clip it out. But thank you for joining us tonight. First of all, I'm going to go straight into some call-outs in chat. Thanks for those of you who've joined us. If you haven't done so already, say hi in chat. Let us know you're there. We're going to get back to you guys really quickly here. Let's go through some of the things that we experienced as a channel. We had some great offline follows at the beginning of the show. Gave some shout outs there. We had a lot of great folks like yourselves viewing. And thank you for joining us on this part of the journey, Season 1, Episode 5. And Godless Lawyer, thank you very much for the subscription. Much appreciate your support. Thank you for showing your love. Welcome to the Checkmates. You're part of an amazing crew of TTRPG and video game aficionados, gurus, and enthusiasts, and just all-around wonderful people. So don't be a stranger. Thanks for joining us. Feargood, thanks for being in the house again tonight, for joining. Much love. Again, with another, I think, a 2-time sub for you, Feargood, that just went by. Right Bit, speaking up in chat, welcome. Many of you who I see in the viewers list who are shy, and that's okay. Hopefully you enjoyed the show and the entertainment tonight. Oh my God, you guys. Another banner episode. Every one of these, I feel like the bar keeps getting higher and higher and higher. Muse, how are you feeling?
Oh,
What do you think?
I'm going to have to come. If she's caught, I've already got a couple of lies ready.
Already thinking. All right, that's cool. I don't mind if you guys plot against me. Godless Lawyer, by the way, dropping fucking professional level puns. Look at this. Sounds scary. You'll have to be a bit bolder as you guys are sneaking past the rocks on the north. Muse has the rope.
Yeah.
That's not ideal. Look at this. These are fantastic. Great Escape. Cataclysm. Here all night, folks.
Yeah.
Just straight entertainment. No stopping. Pleasant Doom as Glitter Bomb, our Kenku friend. How you feeling?
Mine is in danger.
That's right. She's on the other side of the fence now.
I have an idea of how I can help, but it's gonna have to wait until next time.
That's it. You have to keep us in suspense. Drogan, what are you making of all this? Dads and Dragons.
Yeah, there's no way this ends well.
You guys have
Let's see
talked
what
and
happens.
schmoozed your
See what
way out of
happens.
similar situations, so I'm really interested to see what happens now.
I have never regretted having persuasion as one of my skills as much until this session.
Persuasion is definitely like the OP skill. If it's high enough, you can. Yeah, that's amazing and great use of that for all of you. I think that's been incredible. Yeah, Drogan, what were you thinking when your second lockpick broke?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's gonna go poorly. We're on to Plan B now, and Plan B is not great. So
Might be Plan T.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We'll go through the whole alphabet and hopefully live to see the end of it. And Cloud, pretty daring, pretty ballsy now on the other side. Who knows what's gonna happen? I don't know. Where are you at? What do you think?
It's like Kismet, because to roll double ones.
Yeah. On something that you're
Obviously-
very proficient in too. I thought for sure you were gonna
Yes.
stick that landing easy.
I was not concerned. I thought, maybe a point of damage or something, which, whatever. Not this. I was not. I wasn't expecting this. All she knows is that there's somebody in there who's being imprisoned, and she has to go get him.
Truly
And
incredible.
she couldn't imagine any other way of getting there.
I love this. Truly, I know everyone says this about their show, but if you have a moment, go back through the series. Every episode gets more harrowing than the last. The bonds that are forming amongst you all as you learn about each other's backstories is incredible, and the kind of situations that you've gotten yourselves into and out of creatively is really incredible. Jokes in all the right places, lots of great laughs, but definitely high drama and I think enriched fantasy. So if you're just joining us and you haven't done so already, please do throw us a follow. That's the currency in which we deal. We just like to know that you're listening and that what we do is entertaining for you and that you're enjoying it, and we'll keep doing it as long as you keep showing up, because that's what we enjoy to do. Really thrilled with how this group has the chemistry this group has formed, so excited to share more of that with you. But speaking of this great group, let's go ahead and meet them. I'm going to go from bottom to top on my screen, which, Angela, means that you're up first. This is Angela at Pleasant Doom playing Glitter Bomb in our little story.
Yeah, like you said, I am at Pleasant Doom on the Twitterverse. I am one of the hosts of Dungeons, Dinings, and Dorks, where we talk about geekery and food and other fun stuff, and just have a lot of fun.
A lot of fun is what it's all about. At Just Drawn Radio, Dustin playing Muse. Where can the people find you?
Of course, you can find me on Twitter at JustDrawnRadio. You can also head to cjtr.ca and listen to my radio show about comic books and art and once a month, also, my girlfriend does her own show called Women in Comics there as well, which she honestly makes me look like kind of a hack. So check her out. While you're there, check mine out.
Duly noted. Doing her props. And we have Ryan at Dads and Dragons playing Drogon. Ryan, where can our folks find you if they want more?
Yeah, come check me out on Twitter. Follow us at Dads and Dragons and come say hi.
Amazing. Rounding out the crew, our intrepid, the bravest of brave, our monk kitty, Chicken Lee Nerd, Nikki, aka Cloud, the Tabaxi monk. How you feeling, and where can our folks find you for more?
I'm feeling terrified, but I would like everybody to come talk to me at Chicken Lee Nerd, Twitter, Instagram. Just make me feel like it's going to be okay. Okay, just help me out. And also, I would like you to go check out my shop of curiosities, nerdychicken.ca. Check it out. I love it. So will you.
We could all definitely use that moral support right now, and there really is a lot of.
Can I just take 2 seconds to show you what's going to be going into the shop soon?
Sure.
Just a second.
Okay. All right. Sneak preview. All right. This is VIP treatment. You guys are going to see never seen before.
He's not there yet. I just took pictures of him today.
Look at that.
Oh.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
And okay, it's very heavy. So hold on. Just want you to see the inside because it's incredible.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh my God, that's gorgeous. And that's handcrafted.
He's even got a little heart in there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really tremendous.
It's made by the Gaming Geeks. And they are allowing me to sell this on Nerdy Chicken, and I'm so excited. I love it. I don't know how I can give it up.
And that and more tremendous things available on Nikki's shop at www.nerdychicken.ca or .com. Choose your weapon. They'll both get you where you're going, right?
His name is Chester. Yes.
Chester. That's
Either
hilarious.
one.
That's hilarious. Of course, my name is Brad, aka Shambazzle, at Shambazzle Games everywhere on the internet. I know that things are kind of sluggish a little bit right now. That's because I would love you to join us in raiding our very, very good friends at How I Nerd. Tremendous culture, great community, and they do things just like us. They're nerds who love the game, who love to produce content. So won't you kindly join us for a raid? Tell them where you came from. Tell them Shambazzle Games says hi. You came from the channel. Share the love, and here we go. Let's start that up. Hopefully I've got that figured out now. Go ahead and jump on the raid, even if you just join us for the initial hit. We got 8. Can we do 10? Can I see 10 viewers ready to raid? Here we go, everybody. Let's do it. Raid them up.
Let's do it. Come on.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Good night. Happy gaming. Be good to one another. And we'll see you next time for another episode or a great stream right here on Shambazzle Games. Take it easy.